I think I'm the only person watching.
No, there's some more. They're in
Is
the
that
chat.
still
They're in the
is that
chat
still
room.
fucking for me?
Say what? We're live, by the way.
Okay,
So
excellent.
stop talking nonsense.
So, greetings and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Story Mode on Scroll for Initiative. This is most likely going to be the very last session, if not the second last session, of the Lost Mines of Phandelver campaign. And oh man, a lot of stuff happened last week. A lot of stuff. The party came to what was essentially a smeltery cavern room that was built by the dwarves here in Wave Echo Cave, used to refine the magical essences within the cave. And little did they know there was a flame skull that was guarding this room, and surrounding this room with the flame skull were about close to a dozen zombies. But they managed to fend off the zombies by fighting them in a choke point, and then narrowly escaping the flame skull, leaving it and fleeing to take cover and regroup, gather their breath before finding an alternative path. That flame skull did quite a number on the party and group themselves. Um, Choosing an alternative path led them to a surprise, as Belle had tripped on a set of stairs, face planted, and alerted a barrack group of bugbears, about four or five of them. And having a long hauled fight, rocks being thrown, and being surprisingly caught by Alex and returned fire. Things were going well until the bugbears decided to think a little bit more about their tactics, where they had one of them hold the line while the two that remained ran off to go seek assistance, get reinforcements. And it was then that that one bugbear, literally like a Roman legion, held the line, allowed the two comrades to flee, and Alex, as brave as she was, decided to charge after one of them into a dark room. Unfortunately, with her being human, she was not prepared for the darkness, and the bugbear had knocked her out and dragged her back to the bugbear's master. The group kind of inspected this after defeating the last bugbear, gave chase, and stumbled upon what was most strange to them: a doppelganger that shifted into the form of a drow, which was commanding and enslaving three bugbears, one of them most particularly of remembrance, Clarg, from the Cragmaw hideout, the first cave that they had ventured into on their second day around Phandelver to look for Gundren and Cornelius, who had been ambushed during the first session by a band of goblins. Kieran talked the bugbear down, Clark specifically, and he agreed as long as they were freed from this doppelganger drow. Bolg almost managed to one-shot this doppelganger, which was a feat that was not exactly easy by any means, by any adventurer, but he managed to do so and threw the body off the side of one of the crevices into a old stream bed. They pursued, where Alex was in the Temple of Dumafoin, the campsite which was claimed by Nesnar the Black Spider, the drow responsible for this entire escapade. Bursting through the doors, they were taken by surprise by the number of people which resided in this room. Two bugbears, one of them wounded from the previous fight, Nesnar the Black Spider, and four giant spiders, as well as a hidden Hammond Cost who seek allegiances with the Black Spider for everything that was taken away from him, his beloved his beloved deceased, quote unquote, wife from a millennia ago, which he intended to resurrect his fantasy with this Lady Grey. And conversation happened. You guys wanted to talk to him, try to go about a means of a peaceful exchange for the return of Alex. But they offered instead Gundren's brother, his other brother who's still alive. But you guys didn't get that. You guys got offered the dwarf, but he turned out to be a doppelganger, and soon you were left with nothing. Alex tried to make a move when she saw the time fit, but things got ugly real fast as you guys did not account for the invisible Hammond cost. Nearly ending in a TPK, Cornelius decided to break his vow of using magic extensively. He summoned a Lemon's tiny hut, gathered you towards him, and you find yourselves within the tiny hut, narrowly escaping death. With the bugbear, one single bugbear in the hut with you, but he has surrendered. You guys took a long rest, and at this moment, it is nearing the end of the 8 hours that the spell lasts for. Any last things you guys wish to do?
Well, first thing out of character, obviously for the audience, we have another party member on the screen whose camera is still frozen, but, you know.
As you do.
We're having technological issues here.
How can I unfreeze that? How can I unfreeze that?
I don't know.
don't.
It's just I don't know, man. It's just frozen on my screen.
If I turn the camera off, will it screw up the whole thing?
Hold on, I'm just gonna switch thing. No, it's still frozen. No,
It's resting bitch camera.
I mean, you can try to turn it off and turn it back on and see if it starts working again.
Okay, I'll try.
The layout will break momentarily, but that's okay. Yes,
that?
this is Edward, who was going to be in the party originally, but life got in the way, we'll say.
In a good way.
In a good way.
I can't see Ed right now, but ever since I started playing D&D like 3 years ago, Ed was like one of the first people I played with. So Ed's like one of the original people that stuck with me, and you know he's still in the group, and we're still playing D&D to today, even though he's really busy.
Yeah, so today is the only day he's had available to get in here, so we're gonna let him in here. Okay, so there was one thing I wanted to do last week, but I didn't get to do because the session ended rather abruptly. So if we can, let's rewind just a second to the end of last session. Kieran was hanging out on the stairs, like doing his guitar thing, and as I recall, he didn't seem particularly in good spirits. So I was just gonna kind of go up to him as Alex and ask him, "What's wrong, Kieran? You don't seem to be quite your cheery self."
And then, given everything that's happened, could you really blame me? You almost died. We didn't know if you're okay or not, and, well, the battle hasn't exactly been going great for any of us.
Well, it's true, but I'm happy to be alive, and you were a large part of that.
I don't know, just... It's never exactly been good luck for the people around me. Part of me can't help but think that maybe I'm just a bad luck charm for all of us, leading us into danger. I sort of rushed through things to come find you, and when we did find you, I don't know. Everything fell apart so fast, I don't know.
I'll just sit down next to Kieran on the stairs. Kieran, there's nothing you could have done. You did the best you could, but there's really no negotiating with Drow. He was going to get... He was either going to get what he wanted or he was going to get a fight. There was no other way.
It's not even that. I'm afraid of what's out there. The spiders and I can't lose any of you. I don't have very many friends.
Kieran, you'd be a fool if you weren't afraid, but sometimes we just have to do things even if we're afraid because we don't have a choice.
Well, that's pretty obvious. It's not like we can wait out in this mansion forever. And poor Cornelius. He seems pretty broken up about how everything's gotten as well.
Yes, he as well blames himself for our predicament, but he did the best he could within his vows.
And at the end of the day, we made him break it anyways. I don't know, everything's gone pear-shaped ever since we arrived in this stupid mine. Hole in the ground dungeon, whatever this place is.
Yes, it hasn't exactly gone to plan, but not that we really had a plan.
Yeah, you don't say.
Well, we just have to do the best we can and hope that things turn out well, but if once the shield goes down, if we have to die, then we'll go down swinging.
That's not exactly comforting, but I'll take it. You should get some bed.
She just kind of pats Kieran on the head. I know it's not comforting. There's not much room for comfort in this situation. I'm not exactly the best with words like that.
Oh, it's not your fault. None of this is your fault. I just think back to Succumber and the Rise and Shadow, and I'm tired of friends and family getting hurt around me. I'm tired of the people I care about getting put in harm's way.
Well, in our seemingly new line of work, that's just the norm. It just means you have to get stronger to protect the one next to you, and hope that they do the same for you.
I don't know if I'm strong enough for that. Sure, I can hash out a good song, but bloody good does that do in a fight?
The only reason I'm not dead is because of your magic, so don't underestimate yourself like that.
He nods and continues strumming away at his ukulele. Thank you for that, Alex. You should go get some rest. We'll need all of our strength when the force field goes down tomorrow.
Yes, well, don't stay up all night worrying yourself. It's no good if you're not prepared for what's to come. Am I healed up? Yes. Okay. So I will go to bed, and we can move back forward to where we were. We have a few...
Actually, no, we can't, because I want to interact with Bolg.
Oh boy.
It's just like these like the screen fades to dark and we just move to the next room.
To the
And,
next.
like,
This
it,
is
like,
the Mass Effect, like night before the final battle.
exactly. This is actually like a recollection of everything that happened the night before.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So, Volg, you hear a small knock on your door before it opens just a crack, and Bell is looking in.
Come in. He says, rubbing his temples.
Oh, did I wake you up?
No, I was in meditation.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say those bugbears sure can be nasty.
Yes, they certainly can. Thank you for helping me out with the doppelganger earlier.
Oh, well, I just did what I could to help.
Helped out a lot.
You know, I've been thinking occasionally. Long pause.
Don't hurt yourself.
Not now, Kieran.
Suddenly psychic damage.
He picks up the hammer and hammers downstairs where he and Alex are having a conversation. Go on, he says, turning his attention back to Belle.
Oh, well, I was wondering, are there awkward feelings between us?
You don't say.
Not now, Alex.
They were
Yes,
there are now.
in a word. Yes.
This is how Alex and Kieran bond by like picking at the rest of the party.
It really has been. The tension has been palatable since that hobgoblin attack when we were setting out from Phandelver.
Well, I didn't mean to surprise you so much, but it seemed like a good idea at the time.
I see. Okay.
It was enjoyable, though.
Oh, thank you. I can't say I have too much experience in that regard.
I don't usually get to be close to many people like this. Cornelius is nice, but he's
Not
more
the-
a good friend.
Not exactly the same way you would interact with me, I suppose.
Oh, well, if you wanted. And Belle will just walk into the room and sit down next to Bolg.
If you're offering, it's not quite the thing that I would normally do, especially given the circumstances. And he readies his hammer preemptively.
We didn't say anything.
They're waiting. He's waiting for it now. Rule of 3, guys.
Belle looks at the hammer and looks back at Bolg. Oh, I'm not sure I'm into something so serious, but...
Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's more just the pre-battle jitters that are getting to me is all. And he takes out the amulet from Hala Brightaks and lays it on the bed.
I will have a closer look at this.
This amulet is a double-headed golden axe of dwarvish fashion that seems to be lavishly inscribed, very well taken care of, almost like an heirloom of sorts. On the front end, you see that it also has a small hole that is connected to a hemp rope that acts as the chain. On the back side of the amulet, it says it has inscribed Meiri.
This is very pretty.
Used to belong to someone close to me.
Oh. Did that end well?
It did not. Though, not by my hand. It was fate who intervened.
I know about that a little bit. That's how I found my book.
Is it now?
There's lots of things in my book. I don't really understand a lot of them, and I don't know if Cornelius would even understand most of them. But sometimes it makes sense.
It's come in handy quite a bit.
A little. I wish it could help some more some days, but I suppose that's what everyone else is for. We're supposed to help each other, right?
Right.
Especially when bugbears are around.
Yes, those damn bugbears. Come to think about it, both of us have not had very good experiences with bugbears in the past.
Especially my head.
Oh yeah, I definitely know what that's like. He goes ahead and he takes the amulet back.
Oh, I was wondering, did you still have that staff?
Bulg shakes his head. Actually, wait, give me one quick second. Yeah, Bulg shakes his head. I left it back at the wagon.
Oh, Gertrude has the staff.
Yeah,
As long as he can keep it safe.
I'm pretty sure he will. Anyway, we both should get ready for tomorrow. There's no idea what we'll be facing.
Maybe more spiders.
Perhaps. More likely than not.
Hopefully we won't find a bunch of undead bugbears. That would be terrifying.
Yes, it would.
Don't give the DM ideas.
It's too late for that.
Belle?
Mm?
Do take care of yourself. None of us want to see any more injured amongst us.
Oh, well, make sure you stay okay too. We don't want any more bugbears.
Same to you.
And I don't think Hammond Cost would want to resurrect you if you went down.
I don't think he would either.
Oh, I'm glad that's settled.
Good night, Maribel.
You hear from the staircase, maybe that's not the only thing that's as Alex covers his mouth.
I swear to God, kitten.
I have a question. What did we do with the bugbear that is stuck in here with us?
He got pushed out, I think.
Did you guys want to do anything to him, or did you do you want to let Cornelius take care of it?
I mean, I didn't know if he ended up inside the magic tavern with us, or if he's just outside.
He did. No, he is in the tavern with you guys. You need not do anything if you don't want to. You guys just leave him be.
I was just making sure that I knew where the bugbear was, because we have a history with bugbears.
Yeah.
Yes.
But essentially, he's completely surrendered to you guys. So he, as far as you can tell, he has not made a move. And when you guys wake up the next morning, your throats aren't slit, or actually, your windpipes aren't crushed. So, pretty good, right?
So there's that.
Yeah.
He'd
So
slit
far-
our windpipes with his incisors.
Yep. But essentially, it is the next morning comes. You guys have probably what might be your last meal, unfortunately. You gather your gear. Is there any last things you guys want to do?
As everybody's gearing up, because Kieran has, very little in the ways of what he actually has to put on. As everyone's still gearing up, he kind of sits down to wait for them to gear up and pulls out his ukulele, playing a small somber song while everyone gets ready. Wake up, say good morning to that sleepy person lying next to you. If there's no one there, then there's no one there, but at least the war is over. Lift your head and look out the window. Stay that way for the rest of the day and watch the time go. And just continues to sing until everybody's ready to get going.
We might be.
Oh well, since we have like awesome tunes to do things with, Bella's going to help Bolg put his armor on, so that might take a little less time or more time, whichever you want.
Or more time.
Kieran finishes the song and then immediately goes to wah wah wah. I can feel you trying. As Alex gigs him again.
A hawk goes ahead, comes down, and sits on Kieran's head before pecking at him slightly for 1 point of damage.
You take 1 point of damage, Kieran.
I need that.
Come on,
I think
guys.
you've deserved 1 point of damage for all of that. So,
for like 10 points of psychological damage.
Are you done now?
Say what?
Kieran goes, yes. Looks at the hawk. No.
Bulk brings the hawk back to him so that way he can send it out as necessary.
Okay, so.
Which he should have been doing earlier the entire time, but I digress.
Welcome to having pets. In
Yep.
D&D, you tend to forget about them.
Yep. Anyway.
Okay, so
yeah.
It is just a few minutes before the shimmering dome, which is now a dome once more. It's no longer that of an inn. It kind of the inn just fades around you guys. But one thing's for sure about this inn: it's nice and comfortable. But hell, the walls are as thin as paper.
yes, absolutely.
So whoever was listening on the outside could pretty much hear everything.
No, I think you meant like the walls inside the little pocket inn, because we kept hearing each other.
Why not both?
And making fun of each other.
Yeah, suddenly having Kosh just records everything that you guys have said. No.
The wall comes down, he's sitting there with like a flashlight just moved back and forth. That was beautiful.
No, he's sitting there with a notebook and a pencil, and he's like furiously writing down fan fiction.
I think I could get you guys some prime time.
But we already have enough of this. Kieran writes plenty.
I believe he called it friend fiction, so I believe
do it
that's
out
supposed to be
of
different.
love.
And personal gain.
In personal gain. I think the definition of gain there is different than what you might expect.
You can see that's the shimmering dome, which is camouflage, and you can not really see out of it right now because Cornelius had turned off the outside view, but you can start to see the magic fading quickly as you see just silhouettes beyond, very blurry silhouettes, impossible to distinguish what is exactly. But as the shield comes down, it just goes slowly down beyond you. You are taken to what is once more the four spiders. Hammincost stands beside a pillar that holds up this temple of Dumathoin. And a small halfling figure that's not Kieran towards one of the doors. And this new figure, but you're quite familiar with him. Some of you are quite familiar with them. Ed, why don't you go ahead and describe what your character looks like as you burst through the door?
I think he's
Okay.
muted.
Oh, there he
Oh,
is.
there
So-
we go.
Okay, so this is what the map looks like. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you see standing at the door a quite a tall human man. He looks quite thin. He looks like he's mostly legs and arms, kind of gangly looking, and he's wearing a very wide-brimmed hat with a feather sticking out of the top of it. He's got a kind of a long cloak hanging off of his shoulders down his back that looked like at one point in time it was a very nice deep red cloak, but it looks like it's been faded from days and weeks of being bleached in the sun. In his left hand, he has a large great sword that looks like it's been in a lot of use over the years. His right hand has a deeply blood-stained bandage wrapped around. And the most striking thing about him is his very large mustache that pokes out both sides of his face, almost covering his mouth entirely. And it seems to kind of gracefully waft through the air as he steps forwards.
Gracefully is one word for it.
Yes.
Graceful mustache.
It's all about it's a matter of perspective.
As you burst through the door, do you say anything?
So he would see like all of these creatures in here, I guess.
You would see absolutely everything. This room is actually well lit from the candles and braziers spread out. Torches and braziers, sorry.
As he burst through the door, he would call out, "Ha-ha! Finally, some action! Have at thee!" And then he would just like burst forwards.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Cornelius says to you, "Mustachio, you are late." And let us roll initiative.
You're late. Just a little.
Yeah, about like 12 sessions.
Wow, these initiatives are
Okay.
compared to last week. I am getting the same
Oh,
freaking
shit.
initiatives. It's insane.
I didn't roll very well on this, guys.
Okay, I got
It's
you.
okay.
Got you.
We going next week. Let's see. I am
Alright.
I am completely baffled by the sudden mustache man and
Yep.
rolled really low.
Yep, this guy just like, oh man, his mustache is just twitching as you burst through the room. It's got a mind of its own. So Kieran 22, Mirabelle 18, Bulk 13, Alex 8, Mustachio 7, and the enemies will be 7 as well. Mustachio, you can go first. Just for the record, because I'm saying Mustachio a lot, his name is actually not Mustachio.
No,
He
his
has
name
not yet
is-
announced his name, so we'll see. I'll
Oh.
keep calling him Mustachio until then, but for now, for
the
now,
mysterious mustached man.
Yeah. So Kieran, you're being up first. When you look around the room, you see that there are 2 spiders. So I'm going to use you. 2 spiders on the ground. These 2 are on the ground. The ones with the web mark icons, they're above on the ceiling. They're hanging from the ceiling, so they're
Right.
inverted. They're like about 40 feet above you. Hammincost stands over here to the corner pillar of the side. And the rest of you guys are here. This bugbear, he begins to run. He wants nothing to do with this. The bugbear that you have captured was just as a prisoner. He starts to flee away from you guys. He has no weapons, and he's just running towards the door where Mustachio has just bursted through. One thing you do notice, Kieran, however, is this is horrifically daunting to you. You see another halfling in the room, the chamber, the Temple of Dumathorn with you, standing beside the two pillars in front of you. It takes you by surprise, but he looks like the visage of your grandfather.
Kieran.
Or doppelgangers.
Kieran notices this and you know what? Because, like, good play, not that I didn't make this, like, abundantly obvious that this would be a weakness, but I'm gonna waste my turn just sitting there to gawk at this, whatever this is. Kieran stands there, hands still on his rapier. Grandpa?
He says to you, "Come, Kieran. Let's leave." That's all he says to you. Maribel.
Okay. So we see Hammond Cost. Is that him up here?
That is him up there.
Okay.
Is he beside the pillar or on top of it?
He's behind. You can't. The pillar is connected to the top, so it's he's beside it.
Okay.
You can't. None of you can stand on these pillars until you break them. So until you break them, it's connected to the ceiling, so you're good.
No, I don't want to break them. It's gonna end badly. I know it. Okay, so I am going to sort of just glance over at my good buddy down here that I recognize immediately, and then I'm going to go straight into business. I am going to pluck a strand of the weave, and I'm casting Phantasmal Force on Hammond Cost, so he needs to make an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, man. Oh, that's tough. All right, let's do this. Okay, what is the force you wish to invoke? Like, what are you trying to do to him?
Okay, what I want to do to him is I want an illusory spiderweb to sort of erupt around him and wrap him in a very tight cocoon, just binding him together in place so he can't see or hear.
Okay. Make the damage roll. Because he failed.
I believe that's a d6. Let me just double check that.
It is a d6.
Okay. That is going to be 4 points of damage.
All right. 4 points of damage, and you can see that his staff, he's now wielding the black spider's staff, the dark metallic staff, and he immediately kind of just puts his arms together like he is in a binding, and he starts to just squirrel around, like trying to break through something, but he is clearly not bound in any way, but he thinks he is. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn, Mirabelle?
Okay, so are these spiders on the ceiling or the floor? The ones with the web?
The ones with the web symbols, they're on the ceiling, high above you, 40 feet.
Okay, and then these ones are on the floor.
Yes.
So, what do I want to do? I think I am going to step over here by Bolg, between Bolg and Cornelius, and hope that I don't get eaten by spiders. So that will be the end of my turn.
Okay. Standing over there, you are also behind the cover of the pillar that is in front of you. So you have quite a bit of cover between Cornelius, Bolg, and the pillar itself. Bolg, you're up.
Bolg would want to make a intelligence check for something. He wants to remember whether or not we killed the other doppelganger.
Doppelganger. You can make a insight check.
Insight check, wisdom. Do I have proficiency? Yes, I do. Okay. Rolling insight. 17.
The other doppelganger, which you recall to be the dwarf, Gundren's other brother, is not dead.
That's exactly what Bolt thought. He's gonna go ahead and he's going to yell to Kieran, "Kieran, we never finished the other doppelganger. That's not your grandpa." And he's going to send out his hawk to give him advantage, as he is going to weigh in to Kieran's grandpapa.
This is a just surefire way to give you nightmares.
Right?
Your friend beat up your girl.
So Bolg approaches in rings, and he is going to cast Booming Blade on this on the grandpa.
Okay. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
Okay, I have advantage because I have hawk handy. Okay, it doesn't matter because I got the same roll anyway. So that should be a modified 20.
Yep, hit.
Okay. Time to roll damage. And I get to re-roll that. Ooh, almost max damage. That's going to be a whopping 14 points of bludgeoning damage.
14 points. All right, nice. You smack and lay into him. This creature is literally the size of... This is Kieran's size, right? You tower over him. Your hawk is just clawing and biting at him. And now you bring your maul, your hammer, down on him as well.
Mm-hmm. He is also wrapped in a thunderous aura that if he moves willingly, he will go ahead and take 1d8 of thunder damage.
Okay, 14 points of damage. Alex, you're up.
Okay, there is a large mess to deal with here, so let us see what we can get away with here. I am going to... I kind of want to deal with Hammond cost, just in case. Yeah, I'm going to... I'll go over here and take a shot at... We'll take some shots at Hammond cost right now, while he is busy being in the bubble or web or whatever. His invisible mind web. Okay, my character would have no idea if what is wrong with him stops on damage. So I'm gonna do it anyways.
Do it.
Let's see.
Hashtag not meta is best meta.
Yeah, my character would have not the slightest idea, so we're just gonna do it.
Reverse meta.
So, 17 to hit with the spear.
Anti-meta.
Okay, so we are gonna spear him for 8 points of piercing damage.
18? Did you say 18? 8 points, okay.
8.
Alright.
I can't do those massive damage numbers like our half-orc here.
I wish.
Right. And then I will use a key point to flurry of blows, and we're just gonna lay everything into him. So we're just gonna keep swinging. That's higher than the number I rolled before. It's a 16 on the die, so that's gonna hit. And we're gonna hit. I stab him with the spear. I pull it back. I'm gonna club him with the blunt end for 5 points of bludgeoning damage. And then the flurry of blows attack, we're gonna, I guess, give him a kick. And that is a 17 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit as well.
So that is gonna be an additional 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay, so essentially, when you just unleash this flurry of 3 direct attacks, a spear, the back of the staff, and then a kick right into him, it breaks whatever mind control that he was under, but you left him severely weakened and bloodied. The last attack was 4 or 6?
It was 6.
6. Okay. Yeah, he's definitely bloodied at this point, but he's kind of shaken out of that controlled phase and state. And he looks ready.
Then I'm going to. I have effectively disengage on him, so I'm gonna. We're gonna play like old school WoW arena circle strafing around the pillar. So we're just gonna circle strafe this pillar, and if he wants me, he's got to come around.
Okay, excellent.
You gotta chase the girl, whoa, whoa.
Mustachio.
Okay, so seeing
There's a
the
bugbear
bat-
right beside you. He's unarmed. He's running towards you and kind of past you at this point. You can attack him because he'll provoke.
So the first thing Mustachio does as the bugbear runs straight towards him is he sees that he doesn't have any weapon on him, and he just immediately just like nods at him and leaves him alone. Doesn't pay any mind to him. Has no weapon.
Okay, he disappears.
He then pulls his greatsword up in front of his face with the blade sticking straight up towards the ceiling, and he takes his right hand and puts it on the base of the blade, and he runs it up the blade quickly, like almost like he's striking a match along the blade itself. And you can see that there's blood that kind of runs up the length of the blade quickly, and you can see that he's just smiling the whole time. And he just steps forward slowly towards the giant spider thing that's in front of him. He says, hello there, foe. Have you heard of our Lord Tempers? And he's going to walk forward, and he's going to, I don't roll. There we go. And he's going to, as he walks forward, he just kind of starts humming to himself in a happy way, as he is now raging, as he hums the Song of Swords to himself, and he's going to reckless attack this giant spider.
Okay, you set up this spider, square it up, it looks at you, kind of just, what is this guy doing?
Oh my god. First roll was a 5 and a natural 20.
Yes! Mustachio bringing the pain.
Just one quick question. So, with the Zealot Barbarian, they get an extra d6 of damage on their first strike round. Does that also get doubled if it's a crit?
Yes.
If
Okay.
if it's a die you roll, then yes.
Okay then. So
So
this
that was
is
like 66 on the first strike.
6
Damn.
plus 7.
Suddenly, kaboom!
Plus,
He just runs in, obliterates a spider. The rest of the party looks over. Holy shit!
so that is a grand total of 34 points of damage.
Damn.
As the blade just comes right down across the top of his head, and there's almost like, as it impacts, there's like a flash of what seems like radiant light that almost like pierces along the edge of the blade, and it just digs right into the giant spider.
Everyone make Constitution save. Besides Mustachio.
Good Constitution save. Okay. Oh, hey, I wasted a good roll on that.
Not 20?
21.
12.
12, okay.
Terrible, but I have a question. Would I be able to see this because
Yes.
Cornelius is in my way?
Yes, you would.
Okay, yeah, that's below 10.
All right, so Kieran and Mirabelle, when you guys look over at Mustachio and he obliterates this spider, this giant spider nonetheless, it's just a bright light. All you see is the spider's gone. It looks
just
like,
see, like,
sorcery.
The ground is like smoking.
The ground is literally smoking. It's like taking a giant holy shoe to a spider, and it's gone.
Did you shout out "Brave little spiders need to die"?
This isn't a little spider.
It's
What
little
else do you want to
him.
do there, Mustachio?
So I will move over to where Bolg is, like across from Bolg over here.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to
Excellent.
go ahead and say, Hugo, You son of a bitch!
And
I would like
they
to use
slam
my
hands
reaction.
together over the top of the
Oh,
halfling's
the top
head.
half.
Oh boy.
In another context, that could be very weird.
I
What
would
do you
like
want
to
to
use
use
my
your
reaction to shield Barney's eyes from the carnage.
Absolutely. Okay. Yep.
All
not
8
want-
of them.
Do not want. All right. If that's the end for you, Hugo, it is the enemy's turn, and which the enemy will slowly creep over the ceiling, come over here between the two pillars, and slowly, with a silk strand of web, just lower itself down to you, Mirabelle. And it's going to attack you by using a bite attack on you.
Bring it.
Okay. Oh, fell out.
Bite it back.
It's going to be an 16 to hit on you, Mirabelle.
That will hit.
And it does 9 points of piercing damage as the fangs sink right into you. And you need to make a constitution save for real this time.
Hopefully that'll be better than the last one. Oh, no, it's not. 13.
13, you feel the venom inject into your blood, but your tiefling sort of heritage kind of fights it off. It just boils off the venom. At that point, the next spider on top of the ceiling will move towards you, Alex, and it's going to try to defend its new master now. And it comes down, sinks into you. It's going to try to ensnare you with a web charge. It doesn't need to come down, so it's going to stay on the ceiling and fire a web at you, so that you're going to be restrained if it hits. Does a 15 hit?
No.
Okay, the webs stick along the shaft of that column pillar, and it misses you, so you are good at this point.
We'll see about that.
We'll see. You are not going to be targeted, as Hugo is the destroyer of spiders. He has earned himself a new title.
Yes. I'll add
And
it to the
Hugo,
list.
towards you, the spider is now angry and vengeful for having seen its spider brother destroyed. It's going to attack you with a 16 to hit as its fangs come towards you.
It has
Spider love and
advantage,
loyalty.
remember. It has
Oh
advantage,
yes,
remember.
advantage. Thank you. But does a 16 hit, or is that not high enough?
Yeah, 16 hits, yeah.
Okay, 16 hits. You need to make a Constitution saving throw, or you'll take 7 points of piercing damage from the fangs alone.
Half
I
because
got a
you're
12.
raging.
I got a 12 on the con save.
12 on a con save. You are good. You are not taken by the venom. You are raging, and your mustache is twitching, and all the good stuff is happening for you right
Just
now.
a reminder, on half damage, do you round up or do you round down?
You take the lower number. Yeah. So,
Good.
that's turn. Hammond Cost begins to gesture a few hand movements as he channels a fireball, and he lobs it over to this area right here. It's going to hit all you guys. So you, Cornelius, Mirabelle, Cornelius, Kieran, and Bolg needs to make a dexterity saving throw as it explodes
Eh.
with a radiant fire.
I'm glad I got out of the way.
Bad at math. How much is
Nope.
that?
I'm gonna take the full hit of that one.
So
17.
am I.
17. Okay.
I mean, you'll take half anyways, because you're a tiefling.
Keep going. What is your saves?
I got under a 10.
10. Okay. Kieran
8.
17. 8. All right. So Kieran's the only one that saves from that, unfortunately. Where 10, 15, 20, 24 points of damage if you did not succeed. 12 if you succeeded.
Jesus Christ.
That's already so much.
Crap.
Yep. So
Welcome to fireballs at low level, boys.
welcome
Yep.
to fireballs. Everything is hot, hot, hot.
This is why I did not want. I should have let go of my hammer so that way I can cast absorb elements.
Yeah, so the fireball explodes around you guys, and it engulfs you all in flame. Let's see.
Doesn't it friendly? No, does it friendly fire on the spider?
It's above the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
This
So-
one's not. This one came down and bit me.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I should move that marker. It's going to be engulfed. Actually, it takes a bunch of damage and is not dead yet, but it's very burned. It seems like Hammond Koss does not care about anything besides destroying you guys for having destroyed his beloved.
I mean, TBH, it's a spider. Same though.
Yeah.
Kill
it
it
with fire.
Barney will remember that.
Barney is in a glass vial.
Okay.
Safe.
So with that, Cornelius heads over.
The grandpa is not going to take an action.
He'll take an action in a second. Cornelius is going to cast a firebolt as he takes a staff outwards, and he's going to throw a firebolt towards a spider that you guys are headed towards now because he has perfect sight to that one. Why don't everyone roll a d10 for me besides Mustachio?
Okay.
Because I don't like Mustachio. He destroys spiders.
Gonna be a 1.
Hey,
It's
I made up for that. I got a 10.
Okay,
I got a 9.
11,
I got
9,
a
20.
6.
A 6? Okay. That spider beside you just engulfs in flame and is burned to a charred crisp.
Huzzah!
Well, we have a meta-wise, we have a general idea of what level Cornelius is.
I got no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Going
clearly
on?
he gets magic perks for being old.
Exactly, he's just old.
Moving on.
Now, Kieran,
Yes.
you see that your grandfather has just been pummeled and raked at by this hawk and Bolg. And he says to you, Kieran, don't let them hurt me. And he's just being pummeled to the ground. He actually will not fight back, and he goes into a prone status.
Karen is going to run over to his grandpa and try and grab his grandfather's hand as he kneels down towards his grandfather and says, oh god, hold on. No, wrong. Okay, sorry. And he's going to say, oh, Grandpa, no, stop! Hey. It's just like all the orcs back in Secomber, always hurting you.
I just want to get out of here, Karen. Let's go home. Don't let him hurt me.
Do you remember, Grandpa? Do you remember our home? On the outskirts of the city? We can go there.
He reaches for your hands. Take me with you, Karen. I just want to go home.
Kieran takes his hand and says, my grandpa would have known we never had a house on the outskirts of the city. He always wanted one, but we never had one.
He looks at you. And you know that he screwed up.
I'm going to use my action to drive my rapier into him.
Excellent.
Advantage!
You have
as
advantage.
prone.
Which, FYI, was also me trying to be like with the orcs thing too. Remember all those orcs that hurt you? Just trying to be like test him. Oh. That's a nat 20.
Shim.
It's just story nat 20.
Do.
On my first roll, okay. That's double damage die, right?
2d8.
Okay, that's going to be 16 points of damage. I rolled 5 on both of my damage dice as Kieran stabs his grandfather. And even though there are tears brimming on the corners of Kieran's eyes, he says, my grandfather died. My grandfather died a long time ago.
You stab him. It goes straight through. It hits his chest. but the skin around his body starts to morph out of your grandfather's appearance, and it starts to take on that gray-skinned creatures once more. Mirabelle, you're up.
All right. I'm sort of shaking off the rest of that fireball, and I'm now looking back towards Hammond Cost with a vengeance. I'm going to cast Hex on him.
Okay, you
And-
cast Hex.
I will Hex his dexterity because he doesn't. I'm assuming he's not a very strong man. Classic wizard sort of thing.
Sure, you can imagine that.
Secretly,
Oh, well,
he's
we're-
ripped as hell.
Muscle wizard.
Why are you so strong? What do you think I did in my spare time?
Emptied wells with a bucket.
Okay, so I'm going to Hex him, and then I'm going to hopefully shoot him with an Eldritch Blast.
All right.
Kieran,
Yeah.
the correct answer was
okay.
Kieran. The correct answer was fantasize about that girl with the bony legs.
Down.
I don't like this.
Plus 6. Does an 18 hit?
18 absolutely hits.
Alright, and it's time to roll some damage. Come on. Okay, 2 points of force damage and 4 points of necrotic damage.
This is a cantrip, right? You're using Eldritch Blast.
Yes.
Oh, I need to. I don't know if I. Okay. All right. What's the total?
Total is 6 points of damage.
How do you kill him?
Yes! Belle sort of dusts off her arm after the fireball and like gets her hand stuck on the spider's mouth for a second. That's still biting her. And then she will grab a piece of the weave that is near the spider's face and just sort of tug on it. And you see Hammond Koss just sort of look down at his chest, and nothing seems to have happened outwardly. And then he just sort of collapses completely dead because the Eldritch Blast blew up inside of him, and he is missing a lot of internal organs now that no one can tell.
He stumbles forward, one hand on the pillar, before he just collapses to the ground and face plants, looking towards you, Alex, as blood just pours from his mouth.
That's pretty.
I'm
Oh.
helping.
What do you do, Bolg?
Okay, Bolg is going to first put a hand on Kieran's shoulder and appreciatively say, "That'll do, Kieran. That'll do." As he goes ahead and he's going to leave the doppelganger to Kieran and Hugo before moving his hawk Rasheen to help him attack the other giant spider.
Okay.
So he's going to go ahead and provoke opportunity if the thing wants to try.
Probably not. It's on the ground. It's kind of prone, so it's gonna avoid that.
As a bonus action, he is going to use Second Wind to give him back some health.
All right.
Okay, he gets 8 points of health back. He is just slightly above bloodied now. Before going ahead and laying down the hammer on this beast. And he's having Rasheen help, so he has advantage.
Excellent.
Mhm.
This thing is probably missing like a couple appendages because of that fireball, so it's absolutely bloodied.
15.
15 hit.
Awesome. Rolling 2d6. Ooh, that one did not fall off. Ooh, that's almost max. 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
How do you kill it?
He just goes ahead and just bashes the creature's skull in, forcibly removing it from the rest of the appendages as they are stuck into the ground, almost like leftover skewers from a buffet.
Oh no. Oh no. It dies and kind of just squirms as it has that reflex where it just twitches after death. Alex.
There
There is but one spider and one doppelganger that remains as you scan your surroundings. Hammond stumbles one step forward before he passed out and died from unexplained injuries.
I'm just gonna like kick the staff that he was holding like off in this corner somewhere. So yeah, we're gonna just kick that away because
Okay, you kick it. It kind of goes sailing behind the statue. What you notice is that Nesnar's body is still impaled on the flange of one of those on the mace of Dumathoin.
Awesome.
So that's not changed, except there's a lot of blood that's kind of pooled underneath.
Okay, so
too.
this thing is still 40 feet in the air, so I'm gonna move over here, and I'm gonna assume that our new mustache-wielding friend will deal with that doppelganger over there. And I'm just going to fire a crossbow shot. Like I'll like kind of just put the spear down and I'll fire a crossbow shot at the spider. I should have range. You said it's 40 feet. My thing is 80 feet. So we'll fire a crossbow shot at it. That is going to be a modified 20.
Modified 20 hits.
Okay, modified 20, and then this thing it's a D8 on this crossbow. That is going to be 10 points of piercing damage. And it's probably going to be mad at me now because I shot it. So I will spend a key point to use patient defense. So I now have the dodge action.
Okay, excellent. With that, you drop your crossbow. You take the dodge action. Hugo.
Okay, so he walks over, I guess, as this thing is still shifting from the old man into this gray skinned kind of humanoid. And he looks at Kieran and says, "Oh, Kieran, what did you do to this thing?"
Karen narrows his eyes at him. Bradley.
He just kind of like peers back at you through his squinting eyes. "Kieran, are we killing this thing?
Sorry?
Are we killing this thing?"
Kieran still has a rapier inside of it. "Oh, no. I just stuck my rapier inside of it because I thought he would look really pretty on the inside."
Twist.
Excuse me.
He just says, "I missed your sense of humor," sarcastically. And he plants both of his legs like in like a pretty wide, awkward stance. And he just lifts his blade up as high as he can in the air and just like brings it down almost like he's chopping wood. And he's like not even looking down. He's just swinging as hard as he can at the ground. And he's
So-
gonna reckless attack this doppelganger.
All right, reckless attack on top of prone. Excellent. I like it. I like your style, Mustachio.
Okay, so that's a 23 to hit.
Yep.
And that will do. Plus 19 points of damage.
Holy crap.
I wish I had Ed's D6s. Damn.
Hey, Hugo, how do you want to kill it?
It just basically just like it still has the rapier in it, and it basically just like hacks it completely in two pieces. The blade almost like dings off of the flagstones underneath it, and he just kind of stands up after with the kind of blood sprayed on him, and he looks around for his next foe.
Karen looks
Yeah.
down at his stolen kill, then narrows his eyes back at Hugo. "Bradley."
Hugo twiddles his mustache and kind of laughs at Kieran, and that's the end of my turn.
All right, excellent.
I
You are
twiddle my
covered.
mustache as a bonus action.
You are covered in a gray spray of ichor, not that of human blood or like humanoid blood you're typically accustomed with. At that point, there is only one creature left, which is a spider above you guys.
Oh, actually, sorry.
Yeah?
I would have moved towards it and
Oh,
basically
okay.
probably stood close to where Alex is. But he's not. He doesn't really know Alex, so he's just gonna kind of move over towards where she is.
All right, the spider is on the ceiling. It will start to run because all is lost. There are just smoldering corpses of spiders everywhere. This is the only spider corpse that's not burning right now. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dashes out of the way. It is gone. There's like Kieran just making sound effects as that's happening. Yeah, it runs. It won't attack you guys, but you can do whatever you want to it, Kieran.
No, I'm done with it.
Okay.
I don't care.
Alright.
But Kieran is going. Wait, are we done combat then? Because that was the only
That
one,
was
right?
the last thing.
That was
That
the
was-
last thing?
That was the last thing technically. So if you want to act out of combat, we can. So
Kieran is going to go up to Brad. Oh, wait, actually, everybody continue on without me. I will be back in a bit.
Okay,
Okay.
Belle will hobble
Wait, hold on.
past Volg.
maybe we should take our break just right here, like, because I know Isaac needs to deal with the sublet thing.
Thing.
Yeah,
That could work. That could
Sure.
work.
yeah. So
take,
we'll just
take an early break.
we'll just take an early break right here. We'll come back in like 10 minutes because Isaac needs to do something important right now.
We
Okay.
we can BS with chat.
Yeah, just chill with Chad. Talk about stuff. I need to help Isaac out too, so I need to be back as well.
All right.
Okay, so we'll just
I will be right back in one hot second.
Alright.
All right, we're back, and you guys find yourselves out of combat. The last remaining giant spider has fled. There are bodies just everywhere in this room. Whatever you missed, Hugo, it was probably a great time for Tempest.
Damn it. Missed.
So yeah, I am going to hobble past Bolg to the back of the room where Alex kicked that staff off to. I would like to retrieve that staff.
You kick the staff off, and when you pick up the staff, holy crap, oh man, that's a heavy staff. It's like double the weight of any staff that you've ever wielded.
I will struggle and pick it up, but I will pick it up, damn it.
So it's I think it's about 12 pounds in that case. It's like like full metal. It's full black dark
Damn,
metal and has a spider atop.
That's more than double the weight of a regular staff.
Right?
I think I need to. I'm gonna check the weight. I think it should be 6 pounds for a regular quarterstaff.
A regular quarterstaff is 4 pounds.
Yeah, you're right. Let's call it 10 pounds then. So it's 10 pounds. It's pretty hefty.
You're basically holding me when I was born.
I was in that category too when I was born. So
I'm so very hefty. We were hefty babies.
Okay.
It's heavier than a greatsword.
Anyway, so I will pick this up, and then I will just sort of like lean on it and kind of use it as a walking stick now, because Belle doesn't look all that fantastic.
Kieran is going to rush over to Belle and give her some cure wounds. You take that 1d8 of healing. You take it.
Yes, I will take that 1d8 of healing.
Yes, the full 8! 8 plus, God, 5 is heart. 13.
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
I got you, thing up. As Kieran rushes over and places his palm on her to help heal some of the wounds, he turns back towards their mustached accomplice and kind of narrows his eyes a little bit. So, what are you doing here, Bradley?
While you look over, he puts his greatsword back into the sheath that's on his back, and you can see the neck of his lute sticking up, kind of like in the opposite diagonal above the other shoulder, and he kind of tightens the bandage on his right hand again, and kind of tightens it up to soak up the blood that's kind of dripping off his palm, and he says, "Well, I was a little bit late to, meeting you for the job, but seems I caught up with you eventually."
Kieran makes his way over and just looks up at him and scowls, and he drums his hand along the neck of his own ukulele, and this almost looks vaguely like a standoff to anybody who's watching, but with musical instruments. As Kieran looks up at him and says, "Late as always. You never were exactly the responsible one."
"Well, I've been busy. Seems I got a bit sidetracked and had a bit of an adventure of my own."
Kieran,
Did you bring back anything fun?
Oh, did I?
I'm asking the hard questions.
just a few of these scars. Really, they are.
I'll just look around. Well, it seems everyone else is already acquainted.
Kieran looks over at Alex and says, "Sorry, Alex. This is Sir Hugo Bradley."
He interrupts you right as you're about to pronounce his name, and he says, "Of course," and he goes into a long bow in front of you and pulls his hat off of his head. You can see his blonde hair tucked up underneath. He says, "I am Sir Hugo Bradley, Knight of the Order of the Steel Fang, Cantor of the Song of Swords, Champion of Tempest and his red right hand. The North knows me as the Scarlet Sword. The South knows me as Sir Bradley the Brave. And I'm the 3-time winner of the Moonstone Mask Most Luscious Mustache Contest." You may simply call me Hugo, and he kind of flourishes his hat a little bit.
As he bends down and takes off his hat, Kieran just looks bewildered and frowns at him. How does your sweat smell like cinnamon?
That's quite the list of titles. I'm Alex. I'm just your regular old Ilmatari who has somehow gotten wrapped up in all this madness.
Ah, an Ilmatari. On an adventure such as this, that's quite unusual.
Yes, well, when I got sent on this, they said, "Oh, you're just helping with with having, opening a mine." I thought I'd be, doing chores or something, not being dropped into life-threatening situations every 5 minutes.
I think looking after me and Kieran is a chore.
Kieran, possibly. Not you, my dear.
I'm a gift, I'll have you know.
I'll just pat Kieran on the head.
The real gift is the apple chips.
See? She
I thought
knows
it-
something, right?
I thought it was the peach cobbler you two were planning on making.
Oh, that's
Straw.
true.
It was strawberry rhubarb, you barbarian.
Anyway,
Hugo looks at Alex and says, "Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and, well, as much as I enjoy fighting, I understand the Ilmatari have their ways, and, well, he kind of, like, reluctantly looks around. I guess we can try and keep a lid on it a little bit."
Yes, well, there's what the teachings say, but unfortunately, it doesn't quite play out in practice quite so well.
I've been trying to, but it's hard. There's lots of missing limbs and other things.
I try to give mercy to who I can, but looking over at the now, dead Hammond cost, some people prove themselves a bit beyond redemption.
Oh,
I want
that
to go
reminds me.
over... Oh, sorry.
Says, "That reminds me, Belle, I have something for you." And he kind of walks over and reaches into his pack, and he pulls out this, it looks like a beak, but it has like scales coming off the back of it, kind of.
Ooh.
It's like it's been savagely kind of like severed off of something, and he hands it to you.
I will
I got
gladly
this
take
during my
this.
adventure.
Where did you get it? Can I make a nature check to see what this was from?
You know what this is from. This looks very familiar. Looks like a grick beak.
Oh. I think one of these fell on Bolg. And I will
repeatedly.
I will go over to Bolg and try to find, like, the little markings where it bit him and just hold the beak up next to it to compare.
Bolg gives her a strange look because she should know that the grick bit him very around the crook of the neck.
Oh, well then I have my hands on your shoulder to sort of push myself up so I can see that high up, because I am not that tall.
No one in this group is very tall, I don't think.
Bolg
Besides
has to lift Mirabelle by the back of her knees to get her that high, and it starts. He loses a bit of balance as he has to fall onto a pillar to not fall on his ass.
Oh, yes. I think this is the one.
I think this is something else entirely.
It fits quite nicely. As
Me or the Grickbeak?
What in the world are you two doing?
It would actually fit perfectly.
Oh, Alex, do you want to look?
I'm just looking at the spectacle that is going on. I was like, what the hell are you two doing?
Hugo gave us present. And I will hold out the Greek beak so she can see it.
Wait, what kind of beak?
The weird tentacle bitey thing that fell on Bolg in Cragmaw
Oh,
Castle.
hey, we have one of those.
Oh, did we have that?
It got stuck to the staff when I killed the thing that was on the ceiling.
Oh, that's
Or
awkward.
it got stuck to the spear or whatever. I don't know what we did with it after that.
I don't think you guys claimed it. It probably fell off at some point.
Yeah, maybe you tossed it off after we were talking with the hobgoblins.
We were
Gotta keep your weapons clean,
we
yo.
were busy running. We weren't concerned with that. I like how it looks like the spider is wearing a top hat on the map.
Yes, it does. I noticed that earlier. It's like, man, that's awesome. I'm a top hat spider.
Okay, so Isaac is doing his thing.
I cannot unsee it.
It'd be worse if the
good.
spider was rotated around the other way. Okay, so as much as Alex doesn't particularly want to do this, we should probably go over here and like search Hammond Cost and see if he has any like correspondence like in his pockets or anything.
Okay. When you how thorough do you want to be with this?
Can I also help with that? Or have Alex help me?
Just let me know how thorough you guys want to be.
I feel like me helping Mirabelle is probably better. If we have to do it, we might as well be as thorough as we can be, I guess.
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm going like full nurse practitioner here. Let's do it. Nothing is safe.
Okay. Well, in that case, when you just rummage through his robes and stuff, you find that he has a leather pouch affixed to his belt, which contains a sum of gold and a singular pearl. So you guys might want to write this down. This is the coinage he has.
I got it.
Oh,
He has
you got it?
I got
Okay.
it.
35 silver,
Okay.
20 electrum, 20 gold, 5 platinum, and a singular white pearl.
Damn, he's loaded.
As well, this is not coinage, however. He has a potion of healing and some sort of scroll in a bone tube, as well as with him a tiny jeweled box,
Let's see,
which
bone-
contains some sort of ring.
Okay, scroll in bone tube and he's a jeweled box.
Jeweled box with ring.
Mm-hmm. Some sort of ring that's just kind of placed on a cushion.
Okay, there's all that stuff written down.
That's what you find on Hammond Cost.
Well, then I would like to fly up and try to dislodge the black spider from the statue so that it goes to the floor, so we can also search it.
You fly up. You now hover with your wings spread out, and you want to dislodge. You can see that his spine is well embedded into the flanges of this statue of Dumathoin. And let me just give you a description of what you see, like of the statue itself. So, when you come and you stare straight into the statue, you see that this is a 9-foot tall statue of a dwarf who is seated on a throne, and there's a mighty warhammer across his lap, and large emeralds are gleaming from his eyes. Make a strength check to pull
Strength check.
the black spider from the flanges of this warhammer mace.
Dude, I got this. Can I try to use this staff to like pry him off too?
Yeah, I'll give you a
We're doing
+2
it.
bonus.
Yes.
While this is going on, Hugo walks over to Cornelius, and they just start like kind of catching up.
You see that Cornelius is just sit at the base, on top of the pillar, the base of the pillar, and you can see that he's kind of just in thought. He has his pipe out and he's smoking. You can see that each puff, the embers and the tobacco within the pipe just glow, and he exhales outward. This is how he thinks, essentially. You've known him. This is how he thinks. And you can see that he has that 1,000-mile stare in his eyes. What is your role, Belle?
So I'm up here next to the statue trying to pry it off with the staff, but with very little luck. I'm just sort of getting it messy. I got a 2.
At some
Yep.
point,
What's a +2?
That was with the +2 to cancel out my -2 strength modifier. I got a 2.
you kind of drop the weight of this staff, this black metallic staff with a spider on it. It's unwieldy. It's not normal for a staff to be this heavy. It's probably made of some like really cool metal or something. But you drop it, you hit Nesnar, the black spider, like, and you can hear it, just his body gets sliced through the flanges of the mace. It erupts through his abdomen, and you drop the metallic staff, and it just clangs on the ground. Everyone is just wrung and shook by it.
Oops.
You got the body more stuck, essentially, is what happened.
Mirabelle, do you have to make such a mess?
Well, I think I'm committed now. Can I start Eldritch Blasting at the body to try and just sever it in 2 so it falls off?
Does anyone want to stop this? If not, let it be done.
But Bolg is going to suggest something else. Mirabelle, let me try.
This seems exceedingly disrespectful.
He did
Yeah.
try to kill us.
Yes, but we don't need to desecrate the body either.
Oh, I suppose we shouldn't get the statue more dirty. It hasn't done anything wrong.
Yes, that's one way to look at it. Bolg's gonna drop as much gear off of him as he can and try and climb up the tower to go ahead and push the black spider's body off the statue.
Okay, so just make one athletics check to climb.
Okay.
This is for climbing.
That should be easily over 15. That is officially a 17.
17. You scale to the flanges of the mace really easily. You sit upon the lap of Dumathoin, and you can see with his emerald eyes, he's actually almost like looking straight down at you and his mace, and what's happened almost desecrated the statue of him. But you get up there, you remove the body. How do you throw it, or you like lower it down, or what do you do?
Yeah. He's basically just gonna dump it. He doesn't have any of his rope materials on him, so he's just gonna yoink it offside the mace and let it fall to the floor.
His body just falls to the ground and essentially just spill out his contents as it flops.
And Bolg is gonna mutter an apology underneath it and climb back down.
Okay.
I would like to use prestidigitation to clean off the statue.
You clean off the statue. The blood, the blood just moves down to the bottom of it, and once more the statue glitters with this polish. It seems it hasn't been cleaned in like centuries. Dust kind of just pops off of it, and once more those emeralds within its eyes just glisten. So, with Nesnar's body on the ground, covered in absolute blood, his robes are ruined.
I helped.
I don't know if helped is the right word.
Bolg is going to go ahead and try and search what remains he can on the black spider.
You
I
kinda-
will do this as well / help more.
When you look around through his body, you find that he carries with him, sort of affixed to a singular iron loop, an iron key with a head shaped like an anvil. You also find that he has acquired some treasure, which is sort of that of almost like a small sack. Like this is a fairly heavy sack, and it's affixed to his belt pouch. You find here's some more coin if you want to record this.
Matt, you ready?
Yep.
190 electrum,
Okay,
Woohoo!
190 electrum.
130 gold,
Damn.
Okay.
15 platinum,
Okay.
and 9 small gemstones. And these gemstones aren't particularly much value. You should write this down. This is 10 gold pieces each. They're not very pretty gems.
Okay, 10 each.
And also, one last thing is a dwarven ale mug,
Okay.
hammered out of solid electrum. It matches the coin that you have just picked up, and therefore you know it to be pure electrum.
You guys are rich. You can retire now.
Okay, I got all that written down. We'll figure that out. Okay, so what else we got?
That's what you find on Nesnar.
Alright, so I guess since we're just searching things, we should probably search this. Maybe we should probably look on this table here and see if... Alex isn't really looking for treasure, she's just looking for any like letters or like anything that the group should be really, concerned with concerning the, task at hand.
You don't find anything particularly of notable import. You find that there are just drawings or scribblings of notes, and he's essentially got this far because of the research that he's done into this place, the people, the contacts, the minions that he's hired to do the rough work. That's everything you know so far has led you up to this point. Employment of Clark, King Groll, sort of thing, etc., etc.
Yeah.
You do, however, find 2 uncommon healing potions.
Okay.
So that's kind of just laid out in sort of a velvet bag around the table, and you find that there's sort of like alchemical powders reagents that he was probably going to set up and do some alchemy on the side, along with his finding of the spell of forges. The forge of spell, sorry. Keep getting that mixed
spell
up.
of forges. It's a spell that drops
spell of
forges on
forges.
people.
Exactly.
Oh god.
Exactly.
OP.
That is the dwarven. That is the epitome of dwarven craft and spell crafting.
It'd be funny if all the legends of this like Forge of Spells was actually mistranslated, and it is just like a spell scroll, a spell of forges.
Yep, exactly.
It's
Okay.
It's a forge. It's a forge, but it's actually just a giant. It's a giant knitting machine because they misspelled. It's actually supposed to be translated "forge of spools."
Okay, since Isaac is still gone, I guess we'll go over here and we'll see what Cornelius is up to now.
You gather around Cornelius, and Cornelius again has that 1,000-mile stare in his eyes, not looking at anything in particular, but perhaps maybe at almost sort of the feet of the great king, the great god Dumathorn, the dwarven god. And he says, as he exhales a puff of smoke from his pipe, he says, "So much has been lost. So much death has been lost because of this forge."
Sorry, what did he say? I am super distracted because there is a big ass fly that is buzzing around my desk.
So much has been lost because of this forge. So much life lost.
Oh, did we find it?
Not yet.
Oh,
And
Isaac
yet
is
we
back.
have not even found it yet.
Yes, well, it's unfortunate, but I don't think he was willing to back down, and him and Cost is a threat to anyone. If he had just taken his opportunity and left when we first encountered him, he would have been fine, but clearly his intentions were further than just the resurrection of Lady Grey. Good lord, the Skype messages are just flying. Okay, so
It seems you would have a decision to make now. We could continue our discovery of the forge, or we could seal this mountain and never speak of it again.
If
Well-
we try to close it, won't someone else try to find it again?
We can seal it permanently.
well, if you're concerned with the loss of life, isn't it almost worse to close it at this point? All those lives that have been lost for even less of a reason.
I leave the decision to you. If we pursue the forge, know that there may be darker things that guard it.
Well, oh my god, this fly, go on somewhere. Or at least land where I can hit you with something. Well, I don't think Gundren would be particularly pleased if we collapsed the mountain. This forge was the entire point the whole reason we came here.
Yeah, I feel like we should at least go ahead and put the mystery to rest.
Gundren is an entrepreneur. His wishes might not align necessarily with those of everyone.
Better him than the Black Spider.
Very much indeed.
Well, there is the other problem of that we don't actually know where Gundren's other brother is. He may still be alive in here somewhere, though the chances of that seem pretty slim, but it is possible.
It is, and I for one will not back down until we find him. But the forge, on the other hand, I think Nandro takes priority.
Yes, well, we can figure out if we want to pursue the forge as we move, but if we are to save his brother, then if he is alive, then time is of the essence, because it has been weeks.
At that point, you hear dum 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 come down from the corridor of which you came from.
So let's see everyone came from this door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whoever has the key currently, I think probably Bolg would have it. I would like to grab the key from Bolg and go back to the door in the corridor that we found was locked.
Ah, yes.
It's almost
You
like that was on cue.
You open the door with the key. You place it in. Do you open in any cautious way, or?
I'm going to hold my breath because the last time we opened the door, I started puking everywhere.
You hold your breath. Okay. You hold your breath and you open the door. And as you push the door inwards, the first thing that you see is something just run up to you, grab you by the dress of your robe, and just pull you down to the ground with all of its weight.
I am looking at this and trying to figure out what has me.
What has you is this scruffy, scraggly, balded dwarf with this bright red beard, and he grabs you and he starts kissing you, and it's like, Oh, thank you. Thank Dimethorn somebody came.
Oh, well. That solves that mystery.
Indeed, it
Well,
does.
Captain.
I heard combat outside. I wasn't sure who it was, but I knew that when it all ended, it had to be someone sent by Dimethorn himself. He looks like he's been here for like a week, probably more. He smells like not of ale, as a dwarf typically smells, but urine.
He smells of Bud Light.
That's one way to put it.
Now we're never going to get sponsored by Bud Light.
This is what Bud Light living gets you!
Hey, they don't know that. It could be a compliment.
That's funny. Yes, comparing it to piss is a compliment.
Well, now that you made
It
it
is a
very
compliment.
clear, now we're not.
It's okay, we're too wholesome for that, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay.
Fiction.
Friend fiction. Hi, it's the friend fiction book. Anyways, Isaac's back. Hi, Isaac.
What did I miss?
Everything.
Yeah, we found the spell of forges.
Mostly desecration of corpses at this point.
The spell of forges.
Yes.
Anyways, now that Isaac's back, I'm gonna go over to Kieran, who's been standing here silently for the past like 15 minutes. Are you
Just
alright?
like emotion.
Are you alright, Kieran?
Oh, yeah, just lost in my own thoughts for a second. It's
Yes.
almost like my brain was on pause.
Look, just the kind of looking at the gooey remains of this thing. It's a very devious trick, playing on someone like that.
I suppose it was bound to happen at some point. I go around and try to relate to people, telling them all about my grandfather. I don't know, maybe. I guess it just never occurred to me that people would try to manipulate me again.
Well, at least you seem to have saw through its disguise.
I'm done crying about my grandfather. Not because I'm not sad about it or because I don't regret it. But just because I've wasted enough tears. I've wasted enough of my sorrow, of my energy, grieving about something that I can't change anymore.
You have to move on eventually. Doesn't mean you cared any less, but you still have a life to live. Speaking of lives to live, how did you find this place, Bradley? It took us over a week to figure out how to get in here.
Well, it's funny you should ask. Yeah, gather round. I have quite the adventure to tell. He says, well, I left Neverwinter a few days later. I was having my new lute restrung. And, I was hurrying up to join the rest of you on this job with Gundren. Well, a couple of days along the road, I came across some decaying horse corpses just lying there. And they looked a bit familiar, so I followed the tracks into the woods, kind of led me off to the side there, and I stumbled across a large cave. Now, at this cave, there was a group of people from this organization, was it the Lion Shield Costa? That's it. Yeah, that's right. And there's a nice lady there with some laborers, and they were pulling these boxes out of this cave and loading them onto these carts. And I got to talking, which was very nice. And she said they were heading towards Phandelver. So name was Lenine. So I walked with them for a while, and it turns out that she had seen you all in Phandelver and told me about your accomplishments with the ruffians there. And the last that she'd heard, you were heading east towards a place called Old Owl Well. So she drew some directions for me on a scrap of paper, and I left them at the intersection towards Phandelver and headed off down the Tribord Trail to meet up with you all. But during the second night into my journey, I woke up to this goblin digging through my pack for food and mumbling something about waffles or something like that. So the little bugger, he grabbed my hat and he ran off north into the woods. So I grabbed my things, I chased after him, and eventually caught up with him. He was hiding in a strange hut. So I went inside, and it turns out this was the home of a spectral lady named Agatha. She was a bit frosty at first, but I explained the situation, and she was very understanding. Lovely woman, actually. We had some tea and played some songs. She has a lovely voice. But anyways, she said that she was a diviner of sorts, that she could help me find you all. So I took that as an opportunity. She looked into the tea leaves in my cup and said you were approaching a place called Cragmore Castle. The goblin, I think his name was Plug. He said he knew where this was. He agreed to show me if I fed him and, eventually let him go. So we walked back along the trail for a few days into the woods, eventually came across the castle, and I just walked up, knocked on the door, and there wasn't really an answer, but there was a heck of a commotion coming from the inside. So I pushed open the gate, and it was absolute chaos. There were goblins running all over the place, screaming and shouting. I had no idea what was going on. But Plug talked to a few of them, and they said that a few days later the king had been killed, and all order had broken down in the castle. He said some powerful magical assassins had infiltrated their base, killed the king, killed his pet owlbear, blown up part of the castle walls, and had angered they called it a slitherbeak, which has been living in there with them. That's the beak of the beast I got for you there, Belle. I thought it would be nice for you. But from there, I didn't really have any leads, so and my momentary trust of those goblins was wearing thin. So I headed back to Phandelver to try and find out what to do next. And there I found Gundren. He was tied up in his room, and a note left by Cornelius with the innkeeper, and explaining whereabouts you had gone. So I set off, and after I found the cave entrance, it was pretty easy to follow this trail of carnage through here until I came upon this chamber, and here I am.
Bravo, that was one hell of a story.
Wow.
Karen
Pretty
narrows.
extensive, too.
Karen narrows his eyes. Why are you so perfect?
Yeah,
It
so
must be the mustache.
you followed our trail nearly perfectly. We had encountered that same goblin earlier. It was stuck under one of the horses, and we had been in the cave, and we had been in Cragmaw Castle, and
It's strange that I never met up with you. It's almost as if the gods were keeping us just far away from each other enough that we would never meet until right now.
well,
Yes, life has a funny way of getting in the way of that.
well, I suspect it's because we kept having issues running into hobgoblin bands on the road, so we took to taking cover in the woods anytime we heard anyone coming down the trail.
Oh. Well, I'm glad I managed to catch up with you all, and hopefully we can come to some kind of solution for everyone here that makes everyone happy.
Yes, well, I think we've accomplished most of our goals here, but we just need to decide if we are going to continue this or leave it here. I suppose. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask DM a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
At the very beginning, when we were all kind of enlisted for this job, did Gundren mention that this was a mine of like mineral wealth, or this was just like a mined out complex that had this Forge of Spells, which is where the value came from. Both? Okay.
Yep.
Well, we took the job. It seems very rude to just back out on it.
Yeah, you guys are discussing. So, if you guys don't want Nundro being here, you can just step aside, have your own personal conversation. You guys want to do that because, Nundro is affiliated with Gundren. Brother being all, probably associate of his enterprises.
I'm gonna ask him a question now that you bring up that he's standing right here. Have you seen anything since you were brought down here? You've been here a lot longer than we have.
He says to you, we've only started exploration. Didn't get more than 20 feet before we got captured.
That's unfortunate. Yes, this place has been full of quite a few nasty things.
What happened to my brother? You said Gundren's alright.
Yes, Gundren's alright. He's in Phandelver, but what was the other one's name? The one that's dead upstairs? Tharden. I'm sorry to say Tharden didn't make it. He's dead upstairs.
Belle will set down her backpack and get the shoes out and hold them out to Nundro.
He takes the shoes. He looks at them. Nundro's worn these ever since... Wait, no. Tharden's worn these ever since he was a wee lad. Magically sized for him, too.
Yes, that was the only thing of note he still had on him, so we thought that we'd bring that back to his family.
Gundren ought to know. Thank you for keeping these.
Yes, we'll have to give him a proper burial once we're out of this place.
Nundro looks around and he asks you guys, so you haven't found the forge?
No, just lots and lots of undead.
And bugbears.
And bugbears. And spiders.
I want to find the forge,
Yes, well, it could be very dangerous. It may not be the best idea for you to go searching in your state.
But I'm also conflicted. Gundren wants it so that he can line his own pockets with the coin that it could bring. But I now see the evil that this forge could bring about. If it's not the Black Spider now, it's going to be something else next.
Well, let's find it and destroy the thing.
Cornelius says, if it is as powerful as the legends say it is not so easily destroyed. You can't simply take your sword to it. Hugo, have you learned nothing?
Yeah, Hugo, have you learned nothing?
Well,
seems to have worked well for me so far. And he kind
looks
of
at the spider.
Flashes his
well, what exactly is your plan then, Cornelius? How can you say for certain that you can seal it away, that no one in ages beyond will come and unseal it?
I cannot know for sure without seeing the forge. But I would rather not risk any more of you to search for this forge. I can attempt to bring the mountain entrance down upon it. And hopefully time is our friend here. Hopefully we will forget about the forge and its existence.
But what about all the books?
Most of the books lie here. It seems the Black Spider did us one favor. He brought everything he knew and had with him. And I believe, Belle, you have the last book.
Well, if you believe it to be nothing but trouble, then perhaps we should just seal it and destroy any trace of it.
The well was at once truly a source of great prosperity. But as you can see, there are evil forces that wish to twist such good. I wish to remain neutral in the subject. You have fought tooth and nail for this. I am more than happy to accompany you in whatever your choices are. You have proven your judgment so far. Prove it once more.
I would like to see it.
Well, that means we have to find it. And if we're going to, even if we're going to attempt to seal it, it seems that it would help seeing it and knowing what exactly we're dealing with would give us a better chance of sealing it, if that is how we intend to go. But I'm just speculating because magic is not my area. Any Bueller? Any comments? Anybody else? Why is my phone making noise?
What say you, Kieran? Bogue. Hugo.
It does seem to be certainly annoying. And if anything, whatever we do will hopefully deter others from trying to come down here again as well.
I mean, we spent so long looking for it already. I don't care if we actually get it or not. I don't want this thing around causing any more of this. Whether you seal it, whether you destroy it, I don't care. Whatever you think will work.
Well, if we're just going to seal it, there's no real point in searching for it. If we can just bring the entrance down. My main concern is if Hammondcost sent word to any of his other Red Wizard friends about this place. We were warned that they may, more than just Hammondcost, may seek revenge. And if that is the case, we should make it as difficult as possible for them to get a hold of this. Okay, so out of character here. So, like, what do we want to do? We're not getting any feedback here.
I want to find it. I don't necessarily know what I want to do with it after. I just want to find it first.
I think we can go ahead and I think we should leave it alone.
Okay, so we have one for find it, one for leave it alone.
If we leave it alone and Cornelius seals this place, how exactly is he sealing it?
He's just gonna collapse the entrance.
Oh, well, that's kind of pathetic.
I mean, a feat of magic, yes, but you could, with enough dedication and manual labor, eventually.
Yeah. Perhaps... I'll go back in character for a second, talk to Cornelius. Excuse me. Perhaps there's another path here. Perhaps it's not safe to give it to Gundren, but it's also not safe to just simply seal it by collapsing the tunnel, since with enough manual labor you could just clear it again.
Oh, rest assured, more than just the tunnel will be collapsed.
Yeah, if there's anything that can be certain, it's that when Professor Abercrombie really needs to let the magic loose, he will most certainly make sure that the job is done properly.
I thought perhaps maybe the college would have interest in such a relic, and maybe they would take stewardship of it.
Alex, if nothing else from this quest, there are some things that should not be investigated into. I believe the colloquial phrase is, "Let sleeping dogs lie."
Alright. It doesn't really matter to me either way, as long as our obligation to this crazy quest is fulfilled.
Nundra says, I won't fight you if you don't want to tell Gundren. The big orc is right. Sometimes it's just better to leave everything out. He's my brother and I love him. And I think the spell, the forge...
Forge of spells.
Forge of spells. I don't know why that's so difficult for me. The forge of spells might get to him. I can tell you for sure. If you take it to the college, he'll fight with his dying breath to get it into his possession.
Well, I guess that settles it then, unless Kieran has a different opinion.
Kieran shrugs. Let's just get this done with. I've had enough of this dungeon for the day.
Nundro, with a little bit of reluctance, says, I would love to see it, but I cannot do it without you guys.
Well, like Bulg said, perhaps some things are best left unearthed.
Hugo says, now I don't know much about what happened here, but if it was lost, well, this whole place was lost hundreds of years ago, and it's only just been discovered now, then by closing it up again, and this time tighter than before, it should at least buy us another few hundred years of peace. Now, that's better than nothing.
Yes, well, we should destroy all these documents before burying it, just in case.
Belle will look
maps
sad
too.
that we're not actually going to go and find it, but she'll grab the book out of her bag and just set it on the table with the rest of the documents, and just can prestidigitation light things on fire.
You can start a small campfire, which you can light that campfire right there, and yeah.
Guys,
So
guys, I'll take care of this. As he goes ahead and walks forward and casts a burning hand on the set of relics, so that way he is certain that nothing is coming out of it unscathed.
Kieran holds Mirabelle's hand as they all get set on fire, and he says, "They would have made some lovely stories, wouldn't they?"
Sorry, Mirabelle, I know you wanted to find it, but it's not worth even more deaths to accomplish that. I think we've had our fill of death and killing for today. For a long time, really.
She'll just shrug and nod a little bit.
I'm sure you'll find another mystery to dig into as soon as we're back around more books.
Mirabelle, is that all of the books?
Belle will stop and think for a moment, and player doesn't remember. I don't remember if we have any other notes or documents with this.
I have the map that leads to this place. I can throw that in the fire.
Yeah, I have a small hand-drawn map too that I'll throw in by.
Okay. Obviously, you can keep whatever you want. That's up to you if you want any trinket souvenirs. But obviously, the best case is to destroy all the evidence, every single shred of it.
Oh, who has the letter that Yarno Ulbrich was writing to the Black Spider or received from the Black Spider?
I did have it. I don't know if they took it from me when I got captured, though.
I mean, at worst, we can research the bodies. At best, it's gone.
Well, if I do have it, we'll throw that in the fire too. If not, it's gone.
Okay.
So, one last thing before we depart. ODT. Old Dwarven Trick. Which one of you would have the fastest fingers?
Bold points to Kieran.
Kieran.
It depends. What does he mean exactly?
He points to those emeralds within the eyes of Dumathoin's statue.
I mean,
Does he want us to steal them?
I look to the statue and look back down to
burp a
Nundro
second.
and
Yeah.
just sort of look back and forth a few times with the look of, is that cool?
Yeah, Hugo looks at Cornelius and says, "Cornelius, I didn't take you for someone to desecrate holy site."
Don't tell me don't tell me it belongs in a museum.
He kind of just like with his staff, he just like he kind of just holds you back, Hugo. He takes the staff and kind of like a rod. He prods you back, like go behind him, sort of like head towards the entrance, sort of thing.
Just watch. This requires some wisdom, you see.
All right, I trust you.
Bo goes around too. He wants to exactly see what Cornelius is going on about.
So, Kieran, would you be so kind to step up to the statue and remove one of the eyes?
Kieran nods and gets up to the statue, and just as he's about to pull out the eye, he looks back and says, "This isn't going to, like,
Okay,
fall
so
on top of me, is it?"
okay, sorry. So are we? Is he actually trying to get us to steal these?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All you need to do, Kieran, is once you remove the eyes, jump into my arms.
Okay, we're gonna have to be
Kieran
much
looks down
closer
at
up then.
Kieran looks down at this frail old man. I don't want to.
But he
Oh.
has great hugs.
He kind of like pinches his brow,
Jump onto the to Tensor's flying disc then.
and he just summons Tensor's flying disc right beside him.
Does Tensor's flying disc actually get to float up, or is it literally just a disc slightly above the ground, in which case it would be tantamount to also jumping on the ground?
It's high enough so that you have a cushion that it won't hurt you.
Okay, Karen looks back at the thing, and he's about to pluck it out. You know, I don't, it's kind of like stealing, isn't it?
Kieran.
You're not my mom. But, okay, what do the rest of you think about this?
Like I said, I don't think they belong in a museum.
Cornelius?
This has nothing to do with anything. I'm trying to teach you something.
We could give one to Gundren and say we're sorry that we didn't find anything else.
Perhaps he would be less reluctant if you tell him exactly what you're trying to teach.
Have you no faith?
I have faith in some things, but
Kieran looks down over at Cornelius. Oh, right. Faith. That and a quarter will get you 25 cents.
What is a set?
Kieran,
shit.
Kieran, you start hearing in your head just over and over Belle whispering telepathically, "Do it, do it, do it, do it,
What if it bites off my hand?
do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it."
Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
I'm being peer pressured into it. Kieran will close his eyes and quickly yank out the stone, emerald, whatever it is.
When you yank out the stone emerald, the green starts to fade from the emerald's core, and the crystal turns white and loses all of its color, becomes just transparent. Make an investigation check.
Oh man, I know what this is. Rather, I think I know what this is.
That's a nat 20. So that's a 21.
With a natural 20, this is not emerald, this is glass. And the whole cave begins to shake.
Old dwarven trick, you see. We best get out.
What did you do? You said this was a lesson!
He just Indiana Jonesed us.
Did I not say those do not belong in a museum? as Bull goes ahead and gestures to catch Kieran.
Kieran ignores the disc and jumps into Bulg's arms.
Jumps into Bulg's arms. It is time for you guys to leave as the old dwarven trick begins to shake the mountain, and everything around you begins to crumble.
What's funny is as little sense as it makes, Alex carrying Kieran would actually go faster.
So, you guys need to run and escape.
Yes, Bolg is gonna do a quick handoff to Alex of Kieran, and he's gonna help make sure Mirabelle gets out of there.
I'm gonna help lead the charge because I have a pretty good idea of how we got in here.
Okay, so why don't you guys act in initiative?
Hugo's gonna pick up Nundro.
Pick up all the small people.
Yes.
Pick up all the smalls.
Okay, so why don't you guys roll initiative right now, and we'll begin the escape.
Oh, I'm going next week.
Not lead the charge.
Don't worry, Mirabelle. I'm going next week too.
So am I.
That's okay. Your initiative doesn't matter because apparently I'm carrying you now.
Kieran,
okay.
I'm the only one that got above a 10.
First.
Amazing.
Who goes first? The one that's actually walking?
Okay,
Yes.
I'll go first.
All right,
Yes,
so
the
Alex,
one who's
you're
actually walking
13.
should go first.
Yep.
Alex 13, Hugo Bradley 12, Kieran 8, Mirabelle 8, and Bulg 4.
Yes.
Oh man, it's gonna be great. The mountain has first initiative.
Oh,
I'm
God.
kidding. That's not how
The
it works.
mountain,
That's not how it works.
the mountain has initiative 20.
Rocks fall, everyone dies.
Yep.
Okay, so between Mirabelle and Kieran, who wants to go first? Because you're tied off. You can choose who goes first in this case.
I'll let Belle go first because I'm being held currently.
Absolutely. All right. Alex, the mountain begins to vibrate and shake. Small pieces of rock begin to fall. Nothing harmful just yet. The pillars are shaking, and you can see cracks forming through the columns of stone, and you can see sheer forces just destroy this dwarven temple. What do you do to lead your party out?
Well, here's what I know. I don't know how I got in this room because I was unconscious when I got brought in here. However, I know that the party came through this door and Hugo Bradley came through this door. So both paths must lead to out at some point. So, given that Sir Bradley just walked through here, I'm going to assume that it is a safe path.
Okay, you guys don't need your tokens. We'll just go
Theater of
with
the
Kieran's
mind.
token. Yeah, we'll just go with your token. Generally, where you guys are, so I know, but it's not
So
important. For you guys.
I'll just do my dash thing. Let's see. So considering that I have Kieran, I actually move at 40 feet now instead of 50. So I'm still faster than everybody else. So if I dash, it's 80, and if I end up needing to double dash, I can go even faster.
You're too slow.
Yeah,
Don't split the party.
she still moves incredibly fast, despite carrying a halfling, apparently. She may not be good for much else, but she can run. So I will just do my regular dash for now. I'm not gonna double dash. Because if I double dash, I'm gonna leave everybody behind by a huge margin.
Okay, when you run and you keep running down the tunnel, you notice that there's a set of stairs and you kind of don't actually know which way you're going. What's because you're ahead. You haven't been down this pathway. What skill do you use to try to find your way out? There are also no markings here because for some reason. So you think that this is not the pathway Mirabelle came through?
Let's see. Well, let me think. Yeah, I've never seen this hallway, I don't think, because I was unconscious way over there. So I will use I will be perceptive and look around, and maybe I'll spot like the blood trail from when I got dragged in here originally.
And just for all intents and purposes, I'm presuming Kieran has light.
Yup.
I'm not completely cruel, you know.
Thank you.
So you want me to roll perception?
Yeah, please. I'm gonna do the skill check thing here.
A skill challenge. Okay, I got a
Skill
modified
challenge.
20.
Yeah, there you go. Modified 20. Okay, you, as gruesome as it is, does find your own blood, and it allows you to follow it, where you know that your companions are lagging behind at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna just not double dash because I don't want to leave everybody in the dust. But
Okay, so
if
in that case,
if things start looking sketchy, I'll start double dashing.
okay, so in that case, we're going to go as a group. You start to lead people, and they're behind you essentially, but you're about like 10 feet ahead of them just for scouting purposes. When you come to the next turn, you see that a set of stairs has opened. Sort of a small fissure. The rocks in this entire place are just creating so many shearing forces that the rock just breaks apart. The set of stairs almost disintegrates essentially, and you're left with something about a 20-foot drop, Bradley. How do you navigate down a set of stairs that are no longer there?
Which stairs are you talking about?
I assume you guys are heading down this way.
Okay.
Alternatively,
yeah,
if
so
you want to, you can just go that way, which the set of stairs are still intact.
Okay, so Kieran's token is representing the whole group.
The party,
basically.
exactly. The party face. Let's use them.
So I would remember that I came in from that way. I recognize the stairs, I'm guessing, with Kieran's light just ahead of us. With the stairs disintegrated below.
The stairs here are intact if you wish to go this way instead.
He would probably want to go out the only way that he knew to come in.
Okay.
And so he is just going to leap off of the the ledge.
All right.
That's what he would do.
Okay, you leap off the edge. You take some damage.
He goes, "Tally-ho!" and jumps off.
Jumps off. You land 20 feet below you in a mustachio landing.
And he would try and cushion Nundro under his own body while he lands.
Okay, you land down below you. Rocks are jaggedy and sharp. How do you help your party get out of this?
He would put Nundro to the side, and then anyone else that decides to climb down or jump off, he would wait at the bottom to help catch them and kind of like soften the...
Excellent. What skill do you think that would be?
Not animal handling. Probably, it would probably be athletics because it's just a lot of like heavy lifting and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Okay, athletics. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
Okay, that is a 9.
Well then.
Good thing I have slow fall.
He has a dwarf hanging off his back.
I'm trying to imagine the scene right now. The dwarf is just like pulling. It's like a backpack that moves.
Yeah.
And he's just pulling at you, and he's got this really bad smell of urine attached to his like burlap sack rag robe thing. Okay. So, at which point, you managed to get most of the party down, but who's last? Who would you say is last?
Well, let's see. I was first, then probably like Bradley, and then Bolg and Mirabelle were together.
My guess is that Cornelius would choose to bring up the rear.
Okay.
Probably.
Yep. So as you go, and you attempt to help everyone out. You manage to do so. You kind of just do this quickly. You kind of just elevator everyone down. Everyone's fairly light besides Bolg. Bolg is on the heavier side, but he can help himself as much as you can help him. But when it comes to Cornelius, you're surprised of how heavy he is for a wizard who is quoted as being weak by everyone for some reason. You misjudge his athletic nature.
Muscle wizard.
Muscle wizard confirmed.
And you actually injure your shoulder when you attempt to lower him down. But you manage to do so without too much hassle. I'll let you know what injured shoulder means later on when it comes to it. Sure. Mirabelle, you continue as a group. You find yourself in the intersection, especially the one where you had found Alex missing. The door to your left is essentially crumpled. It seems to have closed when everything was vibrating and jostling. And stone seems to have fallen, not to the degree where it's blocked, but the door seems to be crumpled and kind of just bent out of place, and it seems to be stuck almost. You can go left, however, if you want to, where you can see water at the bottom, like a small pool of water, but you never went this way before. What do you do?
I think we're going to stick with what we know.
Okay.
And I don't know if this falls into like actual skill check territory, but I would like to try to just blast the door open with magic.
Absolutely. What skill you want to use? This door is dented and crumpled.
I'd say I could probably use investigation to try and find like a hinge point to maximize the force on the door.
Absolutely.
From the
Go
impact.
ahead and make that check then.
I was gonna say you could go full Lysandra and just boob the door.
I mean, honestly, that would have worked this time, but I got a nat 20, so with investigation that goes up to a 25.
Okay, with a 25, the door just blasts off the hinges, rocks fly, everybody lives for another moment as you guys run through the door. And at this point, Kieran, you are ahead with Alex, and you can see huge chunks of rock in this room because of the force generated. The door flies off, hits the ceiling, and then a giant rock-like chandelier begins to fall right in the center of the room. What do you do?
Kieran kind of leans backward with his, amazing abdominal strength, legs still curled around Alex to stay firm into the ground. And as the party stops to be like, oh no, we're gonna get crushed to death, Kieran stabs his rapier into the ground, and I'm going to expend a level 2 spell slot to use Shatter to potentially blast the rock away.
Holy shit.
Cool.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Make it worse, maybe? Potentially.
All you have to do is roll damage. If your damage roll exceeds the rock's quote-unquote health,
Oh god.
it's fine. It's
No
fine.
pressure.
You double damage on structure. So rock is a structure. So
I know. Okay. I was
Should
gonna
be
say, but
okay.
it's like low-key regret. But also at the same time, we're gonna go for it.
you said level 3, right?
Level 2. I only have level 2.
Okay.
We're not level,
Yeah.
We're not high enough level yet.
What do you mean? I just make up numbers when I play with you guys.
Sorry about now. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Math is hard. 19. So double damage, you said?
Yeah. So
That's,
like 38.
38. Thank you.
Boom! The rock just shatters, and all these small bits of debris fly around you as you guys run straight through it. You get a few cuts and bruises, but Kieran might have just saved you guys from a rock fall situation. Bolg,
Yes.
you're leading. The rocks just fly all over the place. I assume that the debris is just catapulting around it. You kind of just swing your maul through the rock debris, and you just clear the path essentially.
Yes.
Which puts you in front at this point of the pack as you just maul everything out of the way. You come to the set of stairs, and you can see the forge, the smeltery in front of you, and the set of stairs with all the bugbear corpses. A few of them have been crushed by boulders that are falling off the ceiling. What do you do at this point? Which way do you choose to go and lead your party out of here?
Volg is going to take the direct path. Remembering at this point, this is where we went down because this this way is towards the forge, which we don't want to go towards, so we're going to go straight down.
Okay, you go straight down, but as you go straight down, something falls from the ceiling and is almost crushed by a rock, but isn't. The giant spider that you had not killed. It falls from the ceiling, and then it flips itself up and it looks straight at you guys. It is panicked, and it is panicked by you and also the entire mountain vibrating.
Okay. Bolg's going to try his luck with an animal handling skill to try and corral this giant spider down.
Okay.
Please ride it.
Is this how we
9.
get like a spider pad?
9.
9. All right. Let me see.
Maybe like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but on a spider.
Okay. Holy crap. I rolled against you with an insight to see if you're if you just are deceiving this thing. You're trying to take advantage of it. It rolled an 8. What do you do with a spider? So the spider had flipped from the ceiling. It was hanging off the ceiling. It still has its strand of silk attached to its abdomen, and it just got up and looks at you. It's panicked.
Bolg, kind of remembering where we are now, is going to direct the spider up the stairs in this direction, and he's trying to like corral it to lead the way out.
Okay, you draw. Which way can you point to? Which direction you're going? You're making it go.
Yeah,
okay.
This way.
All right, you want to send it that way? You wanted to send it first?
Yeah, kind of just to get it out of the way, because otherwise it's going to be a big distraction for the rest of us.
Absolutely. Okay, the spider runs and starts hobbling. You see that it actually has like a missing leg or two because of the damage it's sustained from the fall. But you get it out of the way and you continue to lead your group. Alex, you have Kieran attached. The spider is gone. You kind of start following it. The spider acts as sort of like a mine detector, essentially, for any hazards that are in front of you. You know that you're inches away from freedom, but you have to get past the labyrinth as you follow the spider.
Well, I know that... I don't think we ever actually went up or down these stairs, because we came from this way over here, and I see the arrows going that way.
Mm-hmm.
But Bolg seems to think that going this way makes sense, so we're gonna just go with that. But when we reach this point here, I can't see any markings that tell me which way to go. So...
Would you be able to see this, like, busted down door? It might be a bad angle for it.
I would say you would be able to. But one thing you would notice is that a lot of the markings seem to have been rubbed off by the rocks and the dust just falling and everything collapsing. And if you're trying to look for them, you're having trouble finding the markings to guide you through the labyrinth.
I guess I'll have to make an investigation check to try to find the markings again. This will be good. My investigation is terrible. Oh yeah, that's terrible. That's a 10.
There's too much dust. You're essentially breathing in the dust from the rocks now. And it's getting quite hard to breathe as well as see. The chalk just blends in.
Okay, so I see that there's a path this way, so I have a path left, right, and down, essentially. So I guess I'll just roll like a d4 and pick a random direction, because I don't know.
Okay.
So let's see.
If that's what you wish to do.
So let's see, we'll say that is 1, we'll say that is 2, and we'll say that is 3, and then we'll re-roll if we get a 4. Okay, so we have a... Well, I guess if I do that, yeah, if I roll that... So now we went this way, but this is still a dead end, because there's a wall, so I gotta roll again to figure out to go left or right. Okay, apparently we're going right. So I went down this way and hit this wall, so now I'm going this way and hit this wall.
Okay. When you get there, you start to see the chalk markings again. and they become a guide for you once more. I want to reveal the rest of that for you guys. And at that point, the chalk markings act as a guide, and Hugo, you essentially almost use these markings in reverse to guide you as you found the party earlier. But once you get to this point, the spider disappears as it is crushed. As it decides to take like a right turn down a dead end, and it gets crushed. You see it just gets smushed as a rock just collapses and caves in on its entire body. When you get as far as you do, you see the rope once more. That is hanging, which it seems like the black spider had used previously, and the one that you used to get out. I told you 2 sessions ago that there's a pool of water here, but when you step into it this time, guys, it is no longer water, but something quite sticky and almost acidic. Hugo, what do you do as the pool, when you all step into it, begins to move and form underneath your boots, and it starts to burn and tingle and hiss, and it seems to be almost climbing up your legs like reverse quicksand.
Oh boy.
Ugh.
It makes slurping noises, by the way.
He's going to... Okay, so Nundro's still on his back. So first he's going to try and, like, throw Nundro away from this thing. Towards the rope or something like that.
Okay.
And then he's going to say... get to the rope, I'll try and hold this thing back. And he's going to just, like, try and, like, pull it up with his hands and like move it off to the side out of everyone's way.
Okay, so I assume that like you probably might use your greatsword even to cotton candy this thing.
Sure, yeah. Well, like if it's like all kind of still globular like underneath us, and he can't like get his arms around it, then yeah, he would use it as like so that he doesn't have to put his hands on it just yet. He would like
absolutely. Okay. What skill would you like to use for that? And as Nundro is being tossed, he says, "Nobody tosses a dwarf!" Oh! And slams right into the wall.
I would say... maybe... I don't know if any of these would really work.
Performance check to make it look beautiful. It's an option.
It's actually, yeah, he has to like dance to like stay out of the acid, but at the same time like scoop it up and move it out of the way. So I try a performance check.
Makes sense.
Try, you will.
It makes sense on some plane of existence.
May not be this world, but in some world.
Yeah.
Right.
To all interdimensional viewers, it makes sense. That is a 12.
Okay, a 12 just enough to get you to do this. You start wrapping and swirling this jelly ochre thingy, and it just blends onto your greatsword, where you can see and hear your greatsword, the metal just sizzling and oxidizing.
No, not the sword.
Not the sword.
The sword.
Not the sword. It's like I baited him into it.
Debated.
You managed to secure all of the acid, and it's just wrapped onto your sword, and it's super, super heavy now. This giant, fluffy gelatinous material onto your greatsword. The rest of you are able to climb and scale up the rope. But there is one last obstacle to clear, which is the mining district of the cavern. There are crates, there are boxes of mining debris, and what you see, Maribel, is when you climb up to the top is, as everyone else falling right behind you, there are stalagmites to the top of the ceiling, and they're pointed and they're starting to weaken and ready to fall like sharp icicles off of a spring melting.
Okay.
This is your last 5 inches of passage before you are free.
I suppose we could try to do an insight check to see which ones are like going to loosen first and try to construct a path to avoid the most likely candidates of falling rocks.
Okay. And the ones that you can't avoid, hopefully they're smaller so it doesn't kill you.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll hope for the best.
Mhm.
Come on. Oh, there it is.
Rocks fall, everyone dies.
We're in Rocks Fall, everyone dies territory. I just crit failed as I stumble and smash my head into this rock pillar.
Mirabelle smashes her head into the rock, and as she was originally your guide, she was saying that she saw everything. She saw everything in slow motion, and essentially, with her intelligence, she was able to analyze the safest passage, which gave you guys some, hope of getting out of here, until she hit her face into a solid chunk of cave. Kieran. Oh, gee, golly me.
Oh, golly gee.
What do you do when you see this unfortunate sight? She is knocked out. She falls on the ground. What do you do to get her out at least?
Is she like being crushed by the rocks?
No, not yet. Not yet.
She's just knocked out?
She just passed out. She hit her face really hard.
Healing word!
Drive-by
Okay.
healing word as we're still running.
Drive-by healing word. Okay, you cast healing word. Go ahead and roll some HP out. And at that point, Bolg.
Mhm.
Mirabelle has...
I'm going to use it as a level 2.
Okay.
Because at this point I feel like we need it.
Okay. At this point, Mirabelle has collapsed on the ground. You can see that Kieran is casting a spell to heal her as he flies by with Alex in tow.
I think
What
it's
do
the
you
other way
do?
around. Alex with
Oh.
Kieran and so.
Yeah, there you go.
9 points of healing.
And points of healing. What do you do to secure the final passage?
Mm,
What is it that you can do?
Bolg is going to. I hope this works. Bolg is going to intimidate the rocks to stop falling until they get out of the cave.
Yes.
What did you say you... What does it look like?
You can't impale a woman unless she asks for it. Damn it! This has been a friendly PSA from your friendly half-orc Eldritch Knight. And a 21 to finish this off.
Yes.
Your voice carries through the entire cavern. And almost like a reverse earthquake, you match the seismic frequency.
Destructive interference.
Destructive, exactly. Oh man, you know about that, do you?
Engineers.
The entire mountain ceases for just a moment. And Hugo, do you want to drop your sword or take it with you with the jelly on it?
Are
you ready for this jelly?
After he wraps it up in the sword, he's gonna hurl it off as far into the cave as possible to get it away, like into this dark corner up here. And just like it flies through the air. Because I want to have free hands to pick up Gundren's brother on the way out.
Absolutely.
The corpse of his dead brother.
Absolutely. Make an athletics check. One last athletics check.
Won't be a good one. Oh, that's pretty good. 20 total.
With a 20, you hurl the contents of the jelly off your greatsword. But lo and behold, to you, when you reveal yourself your greatsword, it's no longer a greatsword. It's a great rapier. Just a thin, depressing blade.
I was throwing the sword with it on it.
Oh.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
getting rid of the whole thing. So that
You see
flies
it.
up.
You see how disappointing that sword is now. As you throw it away, and you grab Thardan's body, and all of you leave out and appear into the daylight. The mountain begins to shake once more, and all that you see behind you is just this explosion of dust. and rocks begin to pour up out of the tunnel and fly over your heads.
It's like this. It's like the scene from the comics of Scott Pilgrim where Honest Ed's implodes on itself.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
I live right next to there. I know the pain.
As Belle's rubbing the dust from her eyes, she looks over. Bolg, when did you get a clone?
Bulk tries to process how he's gonna
I was gonna
how he's gonna explain this. Don't worry about it, Mirabelle.
Are you sure it's not another doppelganger? She's like rubbing her head now, where she smashed it into rocks.
I'm just gonna put Kieran down and breathe heavily because I probably have at least a point of exhaustion from all that.
Puts Kieran down, like lets out like a wheeze. Christ, am I that heavy?
No, I'm
It's
just
your
not.
pack
I'm just
boot.
not very strong.
It could be all the cheese. Oh.
Because I was encumbered for that entire run.
Oh, Bolg, come on, bring your clone. We need to go find Gertrude. As I start
Right.
stumbling off in the wrong direction.
Bulg is gonna help Mirabelle walk and make sure that she doesn't fall over or worse, hurt herself again.
She really needs like a freaking
I need a padded helmet.
yeah.
Oh, she's one of those kids.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Apparently.
the dice have decided.
Anyways, yeah, we should go find where we left the ox, and hopefully it's still here.
To your surprise, Gertrude is actually running towards you. Your faithful ox runs towards you from the dirt trail that you had left it. Him. Sorry, not it. That is rude.
He has feelings.
Oh man, I need one of those Baywatch slow-mo running scenes with my
Just-
arms open, just running towards Gertrude.
As they're both
Except-
running.
Chariot of fireplace.
Except because you're seeing double, you try to hug the wrong one and just fall through it.
Yes.
Yep. Fall
Yes.
right straight through it, and you like kiss a rock as you fall.
The music that's being played is both Kieran and Hugo just trying to compete with each other.
Would you two stop?
He started it.
Is everything still here? We should get out of here.
Everything, to your knowledge, seems to be there. And you can see behind you, the mountain to Waveku Cave is collapsed. Nothing of the entrance seems to be apparent. And within a few years, it would be completely overwhelmed by the foliage and the erosion of the mountain.
Hugo turns to Cornelius as they kind of walk away, and he's like holding Tharden, and he says, "Well, Cornelius, I hope you're right and that this place remains hidden for a long time, but you'll be able to keep an eye on it, won't you, with your magics somehow? I'm sure you have some trick up your sleeve."
He chuckles with that notion, and he says to you,
Fear not, I have something in mind.
You don't happen to have a cookie.
I'm gonna, like, try to, like, bandage Mirabelle's head. For all the good that'll do.
you just start unraveling like putting a mummy bandage on her head. So, at this point, you guys have successfully sealed off the mine from any possible intruders, destroyed the evidence and remains of the text that regarded the mine, and you have successfully rescued both brothers belonging to Gundren. Unfortunately, one of them did not make it.
Yep.
So So, epilogue. No?
Yep.
Yes.
You guys return to Phandelver. You are hailed as heroes for returning the two dwarven brothers. Gundren thanks you, but the truth is hidden from him as you guys tell him that there is no wave echo cave. What do you guys want to tell him, that there's no wave echo cave or no forge? Cornelius would advise you guys that there's no cave altogether.
And we
that-
would have had time to discuss this while we were traveling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'd... Okay, so if there's no mountain, then where did we find his brothers? That's an
We could tell
important-
him that we could tell him that it was a cave, but it was a dead end, and this whole thing was just like a made-up fable that wasn't real. And his brothers got kind of stuck in a cave-in a small cavern, but it wasn't the Wave Echo Cave.
There we go. That sounds like a good fib.
Yeah, Nundro completely agrees with everything he says. He knows that his brother is very ambitious and would stop at no cost to secure his goals, whatever they may be. So you lay to rest the story of Wave Echo Cave and the powerful forge of spells. I had to say that so slowly. You can see that my brain is trying to think about what I'm trying to say next.
It's the sweat on your
way.
brow.
You're slowing it down for the drama.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. It's not because I'm slow. Okay. You are hailed as essentially heroes in Phandelver. The statue that you are beholden to, it manages to get finished in the next month or so. And over the course of the season, one thing is taken to you by surprise as you get some rest and some time to yourselves after this entire incursion. The villagers, they kind of just together help or start the repairs on Tresendar Manor, but rather repairing it to sort of the prior state it was, like an estate for a lord. Within about 30 days, what they do is they repair the main foyer. It's not much, but it's an isolated room. They demolish the rest of the building, but they create a small hearth, a place with a fireplace, a few beds, and they give it to you guys. Help comes from Neverwinter to relieve the hobgoblins. But the hobgoblins wish to stay under your employ if you so wish them to be. They've kept their end of the deal. And they have not caused any harm, but yet they actually defended from a few goblin marauders. Loose tribe from the leftover remnants of Grohl's envoy.
Would the Neverwinter soldiers be against them staying as town patrol?
Against them? No. Not necessarily fond of them, but the envoy that they've sent is about only 5 people. 5 human guards from the city of Neverwinter. Under the command of the Lord's Alliance, specifically.
I mean, I'm figuring we leave them on as night shift.
Okay.
Let's see.
So,
Alright, while you guys make decisions, I'm just doing some good old math.
Gundren, at that point, returns to Neverwinter with his brother. But I'm going to give you guys about 30 days of downtime. Is there anything you want to do during this downtime? Like a craft, a study?
Yeah, we'll probably just do some cooking, some singing at the tavern, some friendly competition with Hugo Bradley.
Let's see. Okay, so Since we're doing sort of finishing up stuff, we've got. I've done the division of stuff here. So everybody gets from the loot pile. Excuse me.
Boy.
Everybody gets 4 platinum pieces. Let me put this in my own notes here. 4 platinum pieces. 30 gold pieces.
Wait. Hold on, Matt.
Is one of us?
Did you include Hugo in that division?
Yes.
Don't include Hugo in the division. He wouldn't want to get part of the bounty.
He can give his share to Almsbox and make Almsbox richest party member.
There you go.
Okay, so anyways, 30 gold, 4 platinum pieces, 30 gold pieces, 42 electrum pieces.
Make sure you guys are writing this down.
7 silver pieces. And there is actually no leftovers. It is perfectly divided.
Nice.
It's like a plan for this, right?
Right.
How much again?
4 platinum pieces,
Right.
30 gold pieces, 42 electrum pieces, and 7 silver pieces.
Okay, I just missed the electrum and the silver.
And that perfectly divides that. There's still other random stuff to figure out what to do with, but that's the money taken care of. So I will just scratch that off my notes. Okay, so we have 30 days of downtime.
So essentially within those within the 30 days, the statue of your memorial, I can't say memorial, but your heroic deeds, because you didn't die.
Monument, our monument.
Your monument.
There's the word.
Monument, there you go, thank you. The statue of your monument to describe your heroic deeds is erected. All of you, including Kieran, which was done last because he's the shortest. Unfortunately, Hugo, you weren't there, but there is a plaque that's on a bench that says your name somewhere.
Yes. our heroes, statues, and then a plaque next to it, and Hugo.
Kieran's just snickering. He's like, yes.
Okay,
Well,
so
it would have to be a pretty big plaque to have all of his titles on it.
the whole
Or just really small font.
It's a halfling-sized plaque.
Oh,
wanna
hit to ego.
fight?
okay, so I guess Alex would spend time like recuperating and sort of preparing to go home because she assumes she'll be going home, but you know, more plot hooks gonna drop.
So again, your statue has been erected, and the townspeople thought it would be most fitting that you guys take over Tressendar Manor. They have been without a lord for a very long time, and that within the 30 days, they've started repairs on the manor, but they've only developed one room for you guys. So just a hearth, a fireplace, and like a resting quarters. That's essentially it, where you guys don't need to stay at the inn anymore, but are much more than welcome to drop by to speak to Tolby and Stonehill at any time. Yeah.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're mostly good.
As far as downtime stuff goes, I'd be sort of looking at any other interesting books that I'm sure the Townmaster's house thing has some books to read.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also like to do some alchemy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a set available to use.
Yeah, absolutely. You know that the old Glassstaff quarters, which have not been removed, it's really hard to remove a basement from existence, but still exists, so you can definitely just go under there and use that as your almost private headquarters or whatever you like, hidden place.
Hopefully someone removed all the bodies.
Mirabelle just like ignores the bodies and it's just a stink down
Or
there.
she's just like, perfect, test subjects.
Tess? Oh no.
I thought the hobgoblins were in there for a while. They probably cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, they probably did. So, if you want to practice some alchemy, is there anything you want to strive towards crafting?
I mean, healing potions seem useful.
Okay. All right.
And maybe... You know, we're gonna try and make a love potion too, just cause.
Oh boy, filter
Oh,
of
no.
love.
All right.
Well,
Couldn't possibly go wrong.
That
I mean,
that is.
we've had one in the Nexus for a long time and nothing bad has happened.
Since no one's used it yet.
Just give it time.
It's because they haven't had anybody to troll with it.
Because everyone's already in love with the people they should be in love with.
Exactly.
I mean, there are still people I could troll, but I just haven't.
Okay. So Mirabelle wants to practice some alchemy during that downtime. What about you, Bulk? Anything?
I kind of don't want to steal more money from them, so I'm trying to think of what else I can do.
Mhm.
I could brew
Eh.
alcohol.
I'll probably do some mercenary work, help keep the town safe for the most part during my off time.
Yeah, like the town now has like a local militia rather than than being like an actual like military organization or anything. So it's more of a militia. So you can definitely be in charge of that militia too, because they
Sure.
hold you in very high regard,
Sure.
as well
that would
having
prob-
previous experience.
Yeah, that would probably help out quite a bit.
Absolutely excellent. Kieran, you want to do cooking? Anything else you want to do during your time?
If Matt is okay with this, I'd like to co-op on some activities where, because Alex said, or he was just like, well, Alex can make alcohol. Do you want to make, like, parties and stuff for the townspeople? You do the alcohol, Kieran will do some cooking, some nice hors d'oeuvres for everybody, and music, of course, and Hugo is free to pop in as well for some friendly competition. I will destroy you.
Yeah, we can do that.
The occasional party.
Yeah, because I don't actually think there are proper rules for that, so we'll see what the DM comes up with.
Okay. Alex, nothing else that you want to just keep with Kieran, yeah?
Yeah, we'll just... He apparently wants to party, so we have to make better alcohol than what the tavern's got.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be like a party, but just like, hey, everybody, come on and like hang out with us because Kieran gets lonely.
Even beloved by the town, he feels that there's still a void.
I'm so sad.
So sad. Hugo, any?
There's a void in his heart that no cheese wheel can fill.
That's not good.
I counted, and 26 options on my final exam today, which, if anyone didn't know, I'm officially done my undergrad, but 26 options were cheese related. like you know how you get you know how you get those like joke options for like multiple choice. 26 of them were cheese related.
They know about you.
It's apparently. I was
Clearly.
reading this. I'm just like, Kieran.
Okay. Hugo, anything you want to do during this downtime? Like, you want to strive for?
Well, first he would nurse his shoulder back to health. I don't know what happened to his shoulder, but he would nurse that back to health. Before
Yeah,
he could do anything.
nothing came too horrendously of it. It was pretty minor, and it didn't really affect anything that you were attempting to do. So you were able to just bear with the pain and throw your sword away as one last hurrah.
We'll do some. We can do some medicine checks on that. we have
And
medicine.
just-
We have medicine proficiency in here.
Probably what he would do is, let's see, he would probably take a brief trip back to Neverwinter if he could, just kind of report in with his nightly order as to what happened. And then he would head back and he would basically see if there were any other tasks or mercenary work or like adventuring stuff he could do. or help out at the Lion Shield cost or whatever, so that he could earn back enough money or enough favor to get another greatsword, and that's what he would spend the whole time doing.
Okay. Excellent. So that pretty much concludes Lost Mines of Phandelver, the module. And Ed, will you be here next week? Is there any chance that you can come back and play one more?
Chances are very, very slim.
Very okay.
2-0 probably.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's all right. Just good to know. It's too bad. So next week I want to do one more adventure or a session in relation to Lost Mines, where we'll just do a transition session. And then after that, we're going to take a break from story mode, and we'll do just like a one-shot session, or maybe like a Nexus session. And to our audience, the Nexus is a game that we've been playing for like a year now, where we do essentially just one episodic adventure with a group of conglomerate characters together. Yeah. So they're pretty high level now too.
Yeah, it's basically running. Delph is in chat. He says dusts off Spencer's character sheet. Yeah. So the Nexus is basically it's a system of one shots. So you can run one shots, but you don't have to keep rolling characters between one shots. The party in the Nexus is currently level 17, so it's very high level play. You don't see that much high level play in 5e, so it's an adventure.
Our initial analogy when making the Nexus was it's basically like the Diablo 3 riffs in D&D format.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, more or less the essence of that.
That's how it started. It's gotten a little bit more
complicated,
arced than it used to be, but hey. But there's that. Okay, so here's sort of the plan. We might do a Nexus thing. We'll probably do a Nexus thing next week. Or not next week, but after the conclusion of this Lost Mines thing. Then we will have a few people leaving because they have real life things to do for the next while. So with that in mind, we are gonna start something to fill the time for that month. It's going to be basically 4 weeks of doing something that isn't story mode. We haven't quite decided what that will be yet, but it'll be something, and it will be interesting, whatever it is. It'll probably just be Jaming, myself, and Beth, unless we pick up Delph there in the chat. Or we pick up some, we'll pick up some people, we'll get something going. We're not sure. Like I said, we're not sure yet. We might run another fantasy game, just a short little fourth thing, or we might run a sci-fi game. I kind of want to do that. I think that'd be fun and a nice change of pace. But we might do that. We might do something completely different. We don't know. We're going to discuss it over the week, and we will announce next week what we're actually doing and who's DMing that and stuff. So yeah, I think that's basically it for the night, right? We good?
Yeah. So just to explain, next month, essentially most of May and a little bit of June, we will not be moving into the next module of story mode because people go on vacation, people have things to take care of in life. So we'll be back at like late June to continue the next module of story mode, and next session. Next Friday, I'll lead into what that next module is going to be with a transition episode.
Yes, but just to clarify, the Friday time slot will always have something in it. Like the time slot that currently says story mode, it will be some other D&D tabletop related thing. It just won't be story mode for the next month or so, but it'll be something. Mm-hmm. We'll give you something. And I got to make a whole new Twitch layout for that. It'll be fun.
Yep. So, can everyone stick around for a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you guys what you thought about I just wanted debrief essentially.
Debrief the module.
Okay. Debrief the module. Okay. So things I need to tell the audience, which I should have. This does a disclaimer. So when I started with Lost Mines of Phandelver, I was gonna run it the way the book intended it, but that's not fun, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That went off the rails pretty quick.
What I intended to do was minor changes here and there, but apparently it just snowballed. I talked to Ed. Ed's been like a long time D&D player that like has been in the same group I've been playing with, and essentially, like he kind of just made me realize that wow, I changed a lot of the module and like everything went out the window.
Yeah, well,
I thought I was doing minor changes, but
Lost
it wasn't.
Mines in general is kind of like a baby's first adventure, so it generally has the depth of a puddle in it, and if you search for any depth in it, like okay, for instance, like moral choices or whatever, like this group does a lot of moral choice stuff, you know, like do we kill this guy? Do we capture him? Is this right? Is this wrong? But there's none of that by the book. There's pretty much just like, hey, look, it's got a sword. We're gonna kill it. Pretty much. Like, it's pretty straightforward. So a lot of what you saw was very much modified. So I think for debriefing this, for if I understand what Jamie wants to do, I think
So
we'll...
yeah, if anyone is watching that's new to D&D, or is wanting to run Lost Mines of Phandelver, I've changed a lot as a disclaimer. This is probably not how your adventure is going to run, because a lot of them are twisted into sort of what works for me, what works for the party, and you might get a very different result. But each game that you play of D&D is going to be a different result, regardless of how much you change or don't even change.
Well, and another thing that that it should be very apparent to anyone that has DM'd before is that a lot of this module has been bent in a way to prevent the party from TPKing 3 or 4 times, because this module is notorious for killing everybody. Because it's one of the ones that was written before the game was actually released. The game wasn't finalized yet. The balance is sketchy at best by the book.
That's a way to put it.
Like if you take a lot of the encounters in this module and calculate it based on the DMG values for a daily encounter, it is off the scale by like a factor of 10. Like they're crazy.
Yeah, but that being said, this was the first game that I ever played with Jaming. Like what?
3 years ago.
Yeah,
it's like 3 years to almost a day.
Yeah, I guess
3
it
years.
was around this time of year that we started playing. So that being said, if people are thinking of getting into the game, taking into account what Matt said, like with a few adjustments to the difficulty of some of the fights and stuff, it is a really well put together introductory module. So it is really good. You don't have to redo the whole thing, like Jae-Ming did, but he was obviously catering to people he's been playing with for a long time, so he knew what he was doing. But it is a really good module for introductory. So
yeah, it's a good module. Just it's a kind of a thing. You'll if you DM this module and you've never seen it before and you never DM before, it'll still stand out to you when you look at something and it's just like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah. Seems really deadly.
Like, this seems excessively deadly. Like you'll note that they stand out very much. Where it's just like, oh, this fight is, oh, we're killing some goblins. That's okay. And then it's like, oh, you're fighting, like I think one of the most surprisingly deadly encounters people will find is when you're fighting the red brand and you've never seen anything with multi-attack before, and suddenly everything in the dungeon has multi-attack and will tear you up. And
Right.
bugbears will tear you up, as Bulk found out the hard way.
Yes.
Just some friendly advice for new DMs or DMs that are DMing for new players, especially towards new players, because new players have no idea coming into Dungeons and Dragons. It's a new experience, and probably most people have experience with video games. You can always be the DM that is the guide as well as the DM. You don't have to be completely ominous and silent. Sometimes maybe a new player does something that they don't understand completely. Oh, you just bumble into a room. They might not realize that, and you can always just suggest that bumbling into that room with 3 bugbears behind it. As a DM, that's probably a bad idea. You can give them a suggestion.
Yeah, and the thing about this module that is very clear when you look at it, it's designed to teach you things as a new player. Each encounter, each plot, each subplot It's designed to teach you something, whether that lesson be combat tactics, like what not to do, what not to do, or to teach you that maybe fighting things isn't always the best option. Maybe you can talk your way out. As with the Venom Fang encounter that we didn't do in this game because we never went to Thunder Tree, but had we done that, BSing your way out of that fight is far better than fighting that fight, because there's a high chance you will just die if you fight it.
So
Okay, so
players.
for debriefing this, what I think what the best way to do this is, if you want like feedback on the different changes and how things went, let's go back to the beginning and just sort of walk through a little bit of the module and say, okay, like, how did this go? How did you feel about this?
Essentially, I just wanted to ask you guys, the players, what you guys liked, what you guys didn't like, and where can we improve? Or no, actually, no, where can I improve?
Okay, so let's start with probably the biggest change, I think, in the module from like good changes. Wyvern Tour, the orcs. Okay, this change was a good change, because if you take a look at the default module and you look at what the orcs in Wyvern Tour do, it's basically just a few orcs and an ogre, and they do nothing but fight you. Like, there's no talking your way out of it. It's just you fight them, and that's it.
Yeah.
And there's no real plot there. It's just like, hey, there's some orcs. Go kill the orcs. Orcs are bad, and that's the whole plot. It's very simple. But our version of that was not simple at all. There was negotiation and a character hook in there, and it had far more depth to it than the original one, and got some got reactions out of the party. So that was an overall good change to the module itself. I think Havencost was a good change to the module too, because he as well, he doesn't really do anything. He's just like a random dude you can talk to or fight. Like, he doesn't. He is inconsequential.
Yeah, a lot of the default Lost Minds is more, as Matt loves to point out, it's catered towards video gamers that are jumping into D&D for the absolute very first time. You're given a quest, you go out, you kill it, you come back to town, you claim the bounty for whatever reason it is.
Yeah, it's very Skyrim-ish, right? Where you get a quest. Oh, the quest is here on your map. Go here, kill everything, come back.
And this group, as I've learned, loves RP. So I try to throw that as much as possible if I can.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
Right, absolutely.
Well, and with this game, so just for more context, so in our other game that is not done on Twitch, has never been done on Twitch, the Nexus, it's very much we murder everything in our path and ask questions never. Like, that's just the kind of game it is where we just destroy everything in our path. Like, we're good guys only by association of like the bad guys being worse than us, pretty much. So,
We're kind of like
Right.
interdimensional Suicide Squad.
pretty much. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're
I
very
like that.
we're pretty much the
Respectful,
Suicide Squad.
respectful.
Yeah, I mean, some of the characters in that game are good, but most of them are like chaotic and neutral at best, if not a little bit on the evil side.
And even then, and if I might be tooting my own horn because it is, one of my own characters, but I think one of the most inherently good characters in the Nexus likes to shout out, "Suck my toes!"
But
Right.
all of Ed's characters are the good guys, though. He's got
It's always Ed's
got
characters.
Ed is like the balancing point of everybody else because he's got to be good.
Yeah.
But no, what I was gonna
Right.
say is that it's in this game in story mode we're trying a different approach, right? We're trying to get away from the mindless murder that D&D tends to be known for murder hobos, right? You live in the woods, you jump out, you murder people, you loot them, whatever. We're trying not to do that. We're trying to be more in character, more in alignment with, okay, what would my religion do, or what would my order do? And for a lot of our character setups, it's less it's usually killing is the last thing I want to do. I'm going to try to talk my way out of this problem, which we did with the orcs, with the hobgoblins, that kind of stuff. That played in well to what you're trying to do. And I think another change that actually worked really well and should probably return in the future should this ever be a thing again. The hobgoblin duel That's a far better way to do a duel than doing it with attack rolls, because that would take forever doing normal rounds.
Mm.
Punching each other to death for 1 damage would take forever.
I'm really
Especially-
glad that you let that happen too, because like that was so dramatic. It was great.
Yeah, the drama of it just really worked out well to this.
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful thing to do. Like, I wanted to make it cinematic, is why I did that. It was
Yo, fucking like power move.
Delph,
Exactly.
Delph says, "Hey now, Spencer's chaotic good."
For now.
Spencer is also one of the characters that is actually like good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Someone made a freaking account named Liberal Peacock. Who did that?
No, that's me.
Oh.
That's me.
Nice.
when you are betrayed by your own.
Nice. I knew your old account name, but I didn't know you changed it.
I just changed it.
Nice.
It had to happen.
It's amazing.
So any other pieces of feedback?
So let's see. I think.
I have one which obviously I didn't play, but
you were an
when I
observer.
was listening to when I was listening to the podcast and stuff like that throughout, I thought one thing that was a really good addition, but could potentially have also caused a few issues. Overall I thought it was a very, very good addition was Cornelius being there. Like having him there so that if the players ever got like too sidetracked or whatever, they could always go back to him and kind of ask like, what do you think we should do? And like he was there to kind of like give the party like, oh, you can do this or you can do this, without the DM explicitly saying, okay, these are the options available to you. It added another layer of kind of depth to it, that like, oh, there are even more powerful beings out there that we can aspire to be like one day, who have these, are dealing with these issues far beyond our reach right now, but they are obviously helping us out in these things and stuff like that. So I thought the addition of Cornelius was really good. The only concern I would have, though, is that I could see myself as a player being like, oh, we have the super powerful NPC with us. I might use him as a crutch if I ever get into like trouble or something like that, which I thought was really good the way that you did that. It's like, I refuse to use magic unless I absolutely have to, because the ramifications of using it can cause like things to spiral out of control or attract the attention of like crazy dragons or wizards or whatever. I thought that was a good way of kind of reducing that as much as possible, while allowing him to continue to tag along with the party. So I thought the addition of Cornelius was really good.
I'd also like to add, with the Cornelius thing, I think it was beneficial to the players. I mean, I've had trouble with this in the past, where players will make their characters and then either not have a tie to the story or not have a tie to each other. And
Yeah.
I think Cornelius was a good way to just sort of get the party together and not immediately be hostile at each other because, oh, you're a half-orc and you smell funny.
Well, on the subject of Cornelius, this is sort of my interpretation of Cornelius, like his function at the end of the game. As a DM, I look at what happened and how it went, and I say, okay, Cornelius's purpose in the final stretch of the module, his purpose was TPK prevention, because that last fight. So, for the record, for those watching, because I am a DM, I have read the Lost Minds module, and I just pretended I didn't know anything for this, right? I didn't do any meta knowledge as far as I could help it, but that last fight with the Black Spider is not supposed to have Havencost in it, right? He's not even he's just he's not really there in that fight. So, even without him in the fight, that fight is ultra deadly in terms of CR scale. So I feel like having Cornelius was the balance point of having Havencost on the other side, because it's okay, I'm taking a very deadly encounter and making it even more deadly by adding a spellcaster to it. So how do I balance this scale by giving the party something to make sure that this just isn't an insta-wipe the second we walk in the room?
Mm.
Yeah.
But I think that you did a good job of balancing that and not being like, oh, you have like a level 17 plus spellcaster with you who can just like destroy everything. Like he would use his staff and his sword most of the time. Like
Yeah.
he was there primarily for the RP and the guidance, and I thought that was. I thought it was well done without it kind of unbalancing everything.
I don't know if you guys have realized, and the audience probably might or might not, but I drew a lot of like inspiration from Gandalf, right? Like he's always there. He never casts spells, but he offers those words of wisdom in situations, and lets Frodo, Kieran, do what he thinks is right, right? Essentially, that's my inspiration for that, and this comes from the point of in D&D. Which I think most people should have this in their games, is a guiding NPC, an NPC that just does not necessarily like combat, but has like you have a fallback NPC where you can always come to and ask questions. And maybe that's not maybe. Sorry, what was that?
They're like the safety net.
Kind
of.
Not like in terms of combat per se,
For
but
story.
yeah, like for story, like in case you don't know where to go, like this module, especially this module, it's like a Skyrim module, right? Go anywhere you want, and you might get confused. Go back to the guy. Like this NPC can help you out with that. Like it's
like you having Cornelius sitting in the inn in Phandelver, like while everyone was off on these little mini adventures, was perfect because they knew at any point if they're like, oh crap, we couldn't find a lead going this way. Let's go back there, and we can always discuss with Cornelius and figure out what he thinks we could.
Absolutely.
In sort of the Lost Mines default, it's supposed to be Sildar Hallwinter, which is like a knight from the Lord's Alliance. But I felt like a wizard was much more interesting.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Sildar is a very kind of a boring NPC, really. Like unless the DM really spices him up, he's kind of a boring dude. Like he doesn't have a lot of personality to him.
Yeah, there's not much written about him in the module either. It's just he's a Lord's Alliance. He wants to do good, and he wants to find Gundren, essentially. Which that's not a problem. DM's free to spice things up, and if a knight works for your campaign, good. I just found a wizard to be cool, interesting.
Yeah, and I do find this module interesting, and I think this is probably true for every module that isn't super on rails. I played this module once before, and it didn't go anything like this.
Nope.
Not even close. Like, completely different path, completely different outcomes. Like, you could play this module many times and never end up with the same adventure twice because the party that you're with will make it different. And will
D&D.
Will make very different. That is sort of the essence of D&D, is that you can put a scenario like Lost Mines in front of 1,000 groups and get 1,000 completely different stories out of it that are nothing alike. Let's see. So let's kind of go back to looking at the module. So good things. We looked at Cornelius, some lower additions. I think the only bad thing, quote unquote, that really happened that I think multiple people looked at it and they're just like, whoa, what the fuck, is chaining the encounter at Old Owl Well directly into the encounter from Wyvern Tor, where it's like, okay, we have 10 zombies, 8 zombies, and a wizard, and then now you've got 6 orcs, and it's like, okay. Yeah. That encounter, we survived it, of course, which is great, but that could have...
We survived it with 2 downed characters and 1 monk on 1 HP.
Yeah, that...
So it wasn't exactly like we were coming out on top, as cleanly.
That was
Jesus.
Yeah. It was a very calculated move that worked out in this case, but it could have very well been a TPK there with... We mostly survived because your dice sucked that night.
Yeah.
That was why we survived, is because your dice were awful. It's just like, the orc tries to hit you with a javelin. 4. He tries to hit you with another one. 3.
I absolutely could not roll above a 10. I don't even think I hit 10 that day.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
I think you made up for it later inside the actual mines. In the session.
Yeah.
It kept going down. When, we couldn't roll higher than, all 4 at a time.
Yep.
Yeah, it happens both ways.
Yeah, and that basically what I'm saying is that fight, it worked out for us, but the balance was very sketchy, and it's one of those fights that if this was the Nexus and we were higher level, it would totally, that kind of thing totally works, right? Because you have so much more in your toolbox. You have so much more gas in the tank to handle that kind of constant barrage. But when you're like really low level, it's just like, okay, I use my 3 key points and then I got nothing. You know, or Mirabelle, it's like I cast 1 spell and I got nothing. And it also, that also hurt that, Mirabelle went down damn near immediately. And then Kieran went down damn near immediately. And it's like, okay, this is bad.
It
So, yeah,
is. Like,
I mean,
it really puts a hamper down.
Yeah, I think overall it was a good encounter in that, like, given our result, right? Like, it was dramatic.
Yes.
It'll be a memorable thing. We'll talk about it, in years down the line to be like, yeah, you remember that time Kieran got thrown off a cliff?
Right, but like it's also the same thing with me. Like the first bugbear ambush where Bolg went down, that is not the same because that was more of my fault as the player character.
That was absolutely a player thing. Like,
yeah, not reading the results. I should have acted completely different, but I acted the way that I did at the time. But that's something that now I'm going to have to remember every time, and you see that in later versions where I'm more cautious, especially about going into an unknown room with enemies coming in.
Yeah, I think that's a lesson that this module teaches, that, hey, bursting through doors is usually a bad idea. But I think that, for me, that was the hardest part of this module, is that I know the module very well. And so I'm sitting there, and, Daniel's like, I charge in, and I'm over there thinking, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah.
I know what's
I was kind of in that boat, too, because I've played through, like, some of the module before, and as soon as I hear it's like, oh, there's a tiny goblin that gets pushed out the door, and it's like, no, Droop, why?
Yeah. So much RP potential just got squashed.
that was very sad.
I only wish I got to do Goblin Flashbang more often.
I mean, it could still be a thing, Then know what you gotta do. And I'm gonna regret saying this later, I know it, but you gotta do the thing that you see in WoW with kobolds, where you'll have a kobold, and then you strap some dynamite to it, and now it's a sapper. It just runs in and blows everything up.
I absolutely know about that. I could do that, but I choose not to.
Sappers.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Dynamite's actually not all that super amazing in D&D, but cause
maybe it's super amazing when you're mechanically surrounded.
Oh yeah, I mean, just like damage-wise, it's not that impressive. Because I've thrown dynamite at stuff in the Nexus, and it doesn't do all that much. I also blew myself up with a grenade once. That was fun.
I had to fix your face.
Yeah.
But just coming back to the module thing for a sec, the good thing is that I don't think any of us have played any of the other modules than this one, except maybe Daniel. I think you said you may have played Curse of Strahd.
No, I played in the realm that Curse of Strahd played in another thing. I'm familiar with the world, but I've never actually run the D&D 5e module.
Okay. So the cool thing is that going forward, all of us will be like, we've never played any of this stuff before or seen any of this stuff before, so it should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've told Jimmy this. I look forward to getting out of Lost Mines because I know Lost Mines. I've read the book because I was going to DM it at one point. But I've never read the rest of them, so I'm totally in the dark. I can't I try my best not to meta when I do know, but now I don't have to worry about that because I don't know.
Yep, and hopefully Ed, in a couple months' time, can return and pick up the game as well after the child grows up, the baby.
Yeah, I need to talk to you about that afterwards, after we come off the
absolutely. Show. Absolutely, we'll talk about it afterwards. So, does Chad have anything to say, ask her?
I think
the only ones in chat is me and Delph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Delph's just talking shit. We're cool.
All right.
Anyway, so one thing I'll mention.
That's very true, Delph. Very true.
A couple months, 18 years. Okay, so one thing I want to mention, I'm gonna shout this out. So, Delph sent me a message in the middle of the game that I wasn't going to mention till the end. So, one of the limiting factors of this channel is that my computer is super freaking ghetto. Like, we can stream at 1080p, but if you can't hear it, but if you could hear it, my computer is whirling like I was trying to run Crysis right now. Just running this layout with Skype in the background. Like, it's bad.
I know where this is going.
Yes, you probably do, because he probably told you before he told me, because that's how this works.
Yes.
So Delph actually he's sending me a video card that's like 6 times more powerful than the one that's running this stream right now. So what I'm
That's amazing.
So what I'm gonna do, here's what I'm gonna do. When, I'm gonna, of course, use that, but, in the future, if I can get, once I get some funding for it, I'm gonna take, the spare parts that I have, and I'm gonna build up a second computer that is just the stream computer, so that we can stream far more graphically intense things for doing, all, besides D&D stuff. But even without that, like, even just with an increased graphics card, we can probably dramatically increase what we stream. Like, we'll actually be able to do, we don't have to play games from 1999 on the stream.
We could just be a retro
Yes, we want
gaming
to.
stream.
I mean, if we want to, we can, but we might be able to stream, Gauntlet, or...
We're gonna do it.
I don't know what else we got. And we want to do the Baldur's Gate stuff. We can do Gauntlet. We can do...
Diablo 2.
Oh, man. If they do a Diablo 2 remaster, we gotta play that. Because right now, the problem with Diablo 2 is you can only run it in, like, an 800 by 600 window. Because the game is so ancient.
That's fine. That's absolutely
Still
fine.
good. It's still one of the best games out there at the moment.
So yeah, we're gonna once that arrives and I get it hooked up, we're gonna start streaming.
What's
more
the card?
Things.
What card is it?
What card is it? Hold on. Let me get my phone here.
Or maybe Duff can answer right now in the chat.
I've got it on my phone. I just got to go to my chat with him. So let's see the card. Okay, so let me show you. Let me pull up my card for comparison.
I know it only has 1 gigabyte.
So you can understand how terrible, like how much of a change this is actually.
What was yours? Like a 57?
Mine is okay. Wait, it's thinking about it. Okay, so my card currently, it's a Radeon HD 7700, which has a whopping 1 gig of VRAM, 5 gig of normal RAM. It's pretty ghetto. The one he sent is the GTX 1060. It's got 6 gigs of RAM instead of 1.
Wait, he sent his current card to you?
He bought another one.
Oh man.
That's like big money. So it's got.
Hey, we got a sponsor.
Right. It's quite a bit more powerful than what I'm running. So no more potato. We can play a lot of stuff on stream that we can't right now. We'll probably do... I don't know if we'll stream GTA. We do play a lot of GTA. I don't know if I can stream it.
I think GTA still needs like a fair amount of CPU to run too.
I mean, I'll experiment with it, but...
If we stream GTA, we have to stream My Fashion Ventures.
Just like 4 hours of like scrolling through.
90% of the stream is like trying to like coordinate all of the colors in my outfit.
Yeah.
Walking out of the store only to find Matt wearing the same color, and it's like, God damn it, and starting all over again.
One of my favorite things to do in GTA when Isaac is on is he'll be like in the store and I'll see him changing into stuff, so I'll change into something similar and he'll come out of the menu. Damn it! Go back in the menu.
It's remarkably easy to troll me.
That is so savage of you, Matt. Even I don't do that.
I did it to him the other day. The other day was funnier. He was actually trying to match what I was wearing. So I put on something really ghetto, like it was just like athletic shirt and some shorts or something, and he's just like,
I think it might have been a do-rag too.
He was just like, you look like a broke art student. So he tried to match it, and by the time he came out of the menu, I had changed into like the Lysandra special rich bitch with giant earrings. He's just like, damn it.
Oh god.
And it's not even like, can't you use like some of your old like saved outfits? It's like, but they're old outfits. Not the same.
Um,
This is why you don't give me any game that has any better of character creation beyond like 5 choices.
5G, even the 5 choices, you spend like an hour like.
Every time we're in GTA, the rest of us will be doing something productive. Isaac will be in the clothing store.
I make no money in GTA because I spend most of it making myself look pretty. When Dragon Age Inquisition first came out, I spent 2 hours making my character. Started the game, didn't like my character, deleted the save file, and spent another 3 making my character hot.
Didn't you start playing like Desert Sand Online just for the character creator or
I
whatever?
literally like the combat is nice and all, but what really matters is I'm pretty while I'm fighting stuff.
Let's see. So I think we'll definitely do Gauntlet just because that's a fun romp. Hopefully this summer we can do that Baldur's Gate thing if we can get people around to do it. Because I'd like to get, because you can have like 6 players in that game, so fill them up. I don't know what else we'll stream. We'll stream something. Like I want to increase the amount of days we stream per week, even if it's just me doing something. Like
I mean, I'll also be probably a lot more available during the summer, so I can probably like join you on a bunch of that kind of stuff.
we can stream my really awful Overwatch play,
Yes.
so I can hate
Well, you
myself.
You were gonna do some painting stuff too, right?
Right, because we completed
Yep.
this module, we are going to paint stuff. I've got my little miniatures. I'm going to have to fiddle with my camera to figure out how to zoom in on something that small and not have it, blur. But I don't know what Jamming there is going to paint, but I'm going to paint this little dragon here.
I've got like,
Gaming?
well, I don't know what I'm gonna paint. Maybe I'll paint something completely different. But like before, as I stopped painting for a while, I had started on like 2 trolls, and I never got to finish them. They have like a base layer, but that's it.
Yeah.
Jimmy's just like painting his walls. It's just like
You said painting.
Is that
Just get a live
But no, I've
Just
never
get a
painted
live stream
anything in my
to that.
life, so this will probably look terrible, but it'll be an adventure on stream. I don't know when we're gonna do that yet, but we'll
Should
do
we
it.
just have like an art stream in general, like doodles we make for NPCs, painting figurines,
I mean,
Yeah, might as well have like a side art episode show, something.
the new art attack?
Fantastic.
Isaac's drawing stuff, Jaming's painting stuff. I'm like digitally trying to make stuff.
Everyone's making like beautiful figurines or like like plot relevant things, and you guys look over at me and I'm like drawing our characters as memes.
I mean,
I mean, that
That's
doesn't
like
seem
internet art.
So, what was I gonna say? Like, I mean, I'm not super artistic or anything, but I do a lot of color swaps on things. Like Cornelius, I forget what his original coloration was, but I changed the colors on his picture.
Yeah, there's a nice image I found online, and Matt just swapped the colors. Like it was a red robe at one point, and he just covered it blue. I think blue is a very nice color.
I have a question.
What's that?
Are you considered, or is somebody considered artistic even if they have no artistic talent, but they themselves are a work of art?
I mean, that,
I don't know anyone you're talking about, so.
Yeah,
I think we have a word for those. Those are actors.
that doesn't actors. So that doesn't apply to you because you have artistic talent. You drew your own token, and it actually
Talking
looks
about
good.
you, father. But thanks.
And you drew the art that is on the break screen.
Which, like, full credit where credit is due. That's a screen cap from Voltron that I just drew us over.
Well, still though, but like it's not like you traced it. You just copied the poses, but you still drew the whole thing because they're completely different characters. So it's still really good. It stays on the break screen until we're out of this thing. Okay, the other thing I'm gonna do before, for the next module, I'm gonna do a new Twitch layout. It's gonna be similar, but I'm gonna change some of the art because I whipped this one up in like an hour when we started. It's literally just a bunch of boxes, so we're gonna
So something more extensive.
something, I don't know if more extensive, but easier to maintain because this thing is a pain when we switch party members around. So something a little
Valid.
easier to, and something easier to swap between different games. So I'm gonna work on that in over the week. But we are running out of time. It's almost time to sign off for the night. Any last thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
I would just like to say, as an observer of the whole thing, as a spectator, I thought it was incredibly enjoyable to watch. And I think it sounded like you guys had a lot of fun throughout the whole game, too. So I would say, great success.
Yes, indeed. Great success. Ed, it was good to have you back, even if it was just for a day, you know.
It was good to be back with you guys.
Yeah, we miss having you around, and hopefully we'll get you back, you know, before your kid turns 18.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Even 18's a little bit early. Sometimes these kids now, this generation,
for this
hangs
generation,
on to you.
you got to go up to like 25.
I was gonna say, it's like me, get my own place in this economy.
Yep. In this economy.
All right. So yeah, hopefully we can get Ed back. We will have a plan for exactly what we're doing over the next month. We'll figure out what we're doing through the month of May we'll have something to announce next week on that. We'll talk about it in the chat over the week. And
we'll keep everyone updated.
Yeah, I guess that's it for the night. So we shall sign it off.
Yep. Thanks for playing, guys. Good module, and thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week.
Yep.